Hello.
Everyone. Hey, Davide,
Hey,
Joey,
Joey.
Charmaine,
And Charmaine and
Lisa.
Glenda and
Hey,
David.
John. Hi, Glenda.
Hi, John. Yeah, nice.
Barney, glad you could
Okay.
make it. Hi, Kate.
Davis.
Hi, Pierce.
Antonia. Is that the first time as well? Antonia. So nice seeing new people. Really lovely.
Hang
Is Lila here? No, not yet.
Not yet.
Okay, before we start, we're just doing a bit of the practical stuff before we start. Um, as you can see, you just raise your hand, and if you have any question, then you just raise your hand, and then we take you in and we have a conversation about
Whatever.
whatever. It
Whatever.
can be whatever. It can be where you are in your process. It can be something you have heard and you struggle with. It can be basically anything. And you just raise your hand, and we are. What happened? Okay, and we are. If you are new here, see some new faces, which is always wonderful. And you would like to join on Discord, you have to speak with us. We have to meet you and have a conversation. You don't need to say anything profound. It's completely fine just, to say I hate being on camera or anything. We just need to get a feeling of you. We are very, very protective of our Discord community. It's a wonderful community, and the way that we run the community is the way that we experience the awakening path. That there are no gurus, there's nobody that knows more than you. Your experience is as valid as ours. So it's a very flat structure that we have in Discord, which means that we need to vet people that come in. We need to know that the people that enter are interested in working like that, are not interested in, if they say something profound 5 times in a row, that they don't see themselves as profound, but just that they had had 5 amazing experiences that they had shared. And also the other way, that you don't feel that you're not welcome, that you don't belong. If you have that feeling at all, please write that, because you will find out that there's many people sitting up there not saying anything because they don't feel they have anything profound to say. So we want that flat structure. We want people to experience that there is a place where you can go with your experience, no matter how your experiences are. As long as you work with the curriculum, you know the language that we use, you know the way that we work with awakening, which is a constant reflection on your own perception. And that actually leads me to the first thing that I would like to talk about before we do the questions. Could we put, yeah, do you have something?
No, go ahead. Sorry.
No, no, no.
What were you gonna say? No. What were you gonna
If you're
say?
done.
No, you just said could we something.
No, that's just pin us.
Oh, sure. Yes, I can do that. I think I can do that.
Todd, he's participating today only by looks. He's only here because he's good looking.
I'm physically present.
He's
Cognitively, much less so.
a little bit checked out, a little bit of fever, and a little bit of overwhelmed and everything. So he's here for his good looks.
Thank you,
Do
Susan.
you want me to do that?
I'm literally looking right at it.
Down.
There
There we
it is.
go.
Thank you.
There we go.
I am in such a brain fog. Yeah, can't can't see. Okay, I think we're good.
Have you made Leela co-host?
No, because I wasn't sure if that was the right Leela. It looked different, and we have a couple Leelas, and I didn't want to co-host the wrong person.
Okay.
Um.
Okay, so you are on.
It's me. I'm here.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I'll co-host you. Thank you. We had seen you before, and then you were gone, and
There you
then your icon thingy changed. So I wasn't
Yes.
sure if it was the other Leela or if it was you.
And before we know it, Toddy has renamed you to John, and Susanna is co-host, and so Leela, you have it now, and you're like one of those number ladies that in those what do you call those shows that
Oh, like one of the game shows.
Yeah, game shows. Yeah, you're just definitely good looks.
Yeah.
Okay. What I would like to start with today is that we had an experience the other day that I thought was, afterwards we talked about it, and it was really a really good picture of how we in our life work with the fetters and work with awakening and non-duality. And I made it into a little riddle that I posted on Discord. And it wasn't because I wanted correct answers back to what the riddle was. It was more like an invitation to reflect on how you perceive the situation. So now I'm going to read the riddle, and then we're going to talk a bit about that. So the fifth fetter riddle, or wanting you to dive into it or think what you feel into what you think about it. So we're in the kitchen, Todd and I, and I'm chopping tomatoes on a cutting board. And Todd, he comes by and he says, "I don't think I like that." And I suddenly notice that there are crumbs on the cutting board right next to the tomatoes. So I ask him, "The crumbs on the cutting board?" And he replies, "No, the greens I just made," and pointing over on the stove. And I say, "Oh, I'm sorry." So I keep cutting the tomatoes, but I take the tomatoes, put them into a bowl, and then I wash the cutting board. And then I take the tomatoes back on the cutting board and keep chopping the tomatoes. And the question is, why did I wash the cutting board? So I know it's like a small everyday experience, and you might be sitting and thinking, I have no idea how to reply that. But it's one of those things, if you just have experiences in your everyday life, that you just reflect on what just happened. I would like to put a pin in it, in that story. Have it in your back of your mind and just put a pin in it. And then we circle back to it in a moment. When we talk about the fetters and we talk about the first fetter, it's about seeing through the identification that we have with everything, that we place an I everywhere, that I view the world with me as a center. In the first fetter, we see through that and realize that there is no I anywhere. There's a perception of an I, but that doesn't mean that there's an I. It's just a perception of an I. In the second fetter, we work with all the things that has led us to that feeling, because you were not created in a vacuum. The perception you have of an I and the perception you have of reality and of the world and what another person says and what another person doesn't say and what politicians say and global warming and all of that comes from somewhere. It's not something that you have made up. The little I in you, the little controller behind your eyes have made up. It's something that you have concluded at some point, either because of your upbringing, of your socialization, of the culture you have grown up in, on the way your parents are, but also on your biochemistry and your neurology, how your nerves are. And in the second fetter, we work with what we call the starting point. And that is like you have an idea of how the world is that is tinted in a certain way. And all of these things with your biochemistry, your upbringing, all of that tinted in a way so you try to survive the longest. And if you have an underlying idea of the world being unsafe, so it might be fear, that is your underlying belief and your starting point for everything, you will look out for what is dangerous around you. No matter what happens, no matter what other people say, you will hear what they say with ears of fear. If it's like anger or guilt and shame that you have as a starting point, you will perceive everything that is said to you, everything you read in newspapers or online or in Facebook groups or whatever. You would hear what they say and make a conclusion through the lens of fear, anger, guilt, and shame. And that is what we work with in the second fetter. The second fetter is probably the fetter that takes the longest, because you keep finding out that there is more things. So for example, let's say the situation we had in the kitchen with the cutting board. I'm chopping the tomatoes. Todd, he says, I don't really like that. I immediately take it as something about me. He doesn't like the way I cut the tomatoes. That can be fear. Oh my God, he doesn't love me. What can I do to please him? It can be guilt. Oh my God, I should have checked the cutting board before I do that. It can be anger. What the fuck do you mean you don't like my tomatoes? Or it can be shame. Oh my God, I should have seen that. I should have seen that. If it had been a second fetter issue, I would have taken what he said personal about something about me. So I would like for you to notice in your life, when do you take things personal that is not personal and can't be personal at all? Because you're not the only one who's not created in a vacuum. Everybody is not created in a vacuum equally. So whatever anybody says to you, when you have a feeling of fear, anger, guilt, and shame, something is arising in you and you're trying to divert from that, go to the second fetter and work with that. What I heard in it was a fifth fetter thing. That I was standing and chopping tomatoes, and I didn't realize there were crumbs on until Todd said, I don't like that. I suddenly saw the crumbs and immediately assumed that he was talking about the crumbs. Turned out he wasn't talking about the crumbs at all. He was talking about something in his little bubble.
It tasted greens and went,
don't really like
great,
that.
actually.
So the message to me in that situation is that I have an issue with crumbs on a cutting board. I was not aware of that, but I didn't realize that until I projected a crumb issue onto Todd. The crumbs on the cutting board, that is what he's referring to. I can only think that if I would refer to that. So consciously, I had no idea that I had an issue with crumbs on the cutting board. Psychologically, I don't have an issue with crumbs on the cutting board. But since I apparently somewhere do have an issue with crumbs on cutting board, I take the tomatoes and wash the cutting board, and then I can continue to cut the tomatoes. So I'm not aware that there was an issue with the crumbs on the cutting board. I became aware because I thought that was what he was talking about. And this is what we would like for you to be aware of. I know this is a big bite. And if you at any point when you do this exercise in the next month, that you feel that, oh my God, they're talking about me, I feel guilty, shameful, I react with anger, fearful, it's in the second fetter that we would like for you to go and work with that underlying belief that you have. But the exercise that we would like to propose to you is to pull the I completely out of the equation. You hear something, there's a reflection on something that is indicating something about you. Todd, he didn't even need to be there for me to have this insight about the fifth fetter. It can be that you are walking down the street and you see another person holding their dog on a leash a little bit too tight. And you think you shouldn't hold your dog like that. You don't say anything, they don't say anything, but you have a reflection where you suddenly are judging or opinionated. That is a gold nugget to you to realize, oh, wow, I just had an opinion about something that has nothing to do with me. I just created a little story about another person and the type of person they are since they hold their dog on such a tight leash. So it's a nugget to you to get wiser on what it is that is shaping you to be in the world and perceive the world as you do. If you want to work with it, on the homepage, the Awakening Curriculum, if you go to the fourth and fifth fetter, you have lots of reading material. Todd has written a lot about both. There are all the videos in the curriculum to both. And I can also recommend you to really dive into the bubble of the bubble of reality. because that is what is shaping you and the perception of you. That is what is giving, that is basically what I was doing when I was standing and shopping. He says, I don't really like that. I am aware that is my bubble that is creating the world in a certain way that I think the world is. It's not, though. It's how I perceive the world to be. And since it's not how the world actually is, since nobody knows how the world actually is, we only know and we only have access to how we perceive the world to be. So you can never ever be right. You can never ever be wrong. It is in that ambiguity that all of us exist. And the best you can do is just to be curious to what is it you think you know, or you think they do, or what is it you think you hear in a conversation. Because all of that is the mirrors on the inside of your bubble reflecting back to you so you can become wiser. Am I boring you, babe?
I'm so sorry.
So you can become wiser, or just, lull yourself to sleep if that is needed.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I'm here in presence, but
It's okay.
biological processing is going on.
You can watch the video afterwards.
I have a clarifying question.
Yes.
This is Susan. I love the crumbs. My question is, I love that journey. My question is, do you have an issue with crumbs on the cutting board, or is it just perfectionism that that you would have just found anything, any old thing, like, oh my gosh, my socks are mismatching, or oh my gosh, my hair looks bad?
What you're referring to is something about the person. So that would be a second fetter thing. If I would, because both you're saying is about, shame. Oh my God, my socks are mismatching. I'm shameful because I'm the type of person that are wearing mismatching socks. Or, oh my God, it's my hair. It's something personal about me. That's second fetter stuff. In the exercise that I would like for you guys to do this month is pulling that completely out, unpinning the eye, and just see everything as if you are an anthropologist just observing what is happening without a personal opinion about it. Because if you judge a situation and somebody comes out as a loser, it's the second fetter stuff. So you can, for example, if you walk on the street and you see the guy holding the dog too tight, if you feel anger about that, it's second fetter stuff. In the fifth fetter, it's only noticing the mechanisms behind an opinion without any right or wrong judgment about it. But realizing that it is a judgment, I suddenly had an idea about crumbs on the cutting board that I wasn't aware of having. If I had that, oh my God, it's so shameful, I should have watched it beforehand, oh my God, what am I doing? It would be second fetter. So it's very, very subtle. It's where there is no loser in the conversation at all.
Yeah, it didn't become personal about
Yeah, exactly.
her. It was just about, I have an opinion about crumbs on a cutting board that I was completely unaware of. And it could have been anything else that she was doing at that point that she had some latent, undiscovered opinion about that she was unaware of. And then that would have been the thing that she discovered. I mean, if she had okay, this is not going to go well, but like,
If you go.
no, I mean,
I believe in you.
No, I mean, literally, it could have been anything that she was doing. That there's like any sort of an internal feeling about the right way or the wrong way that something should be done, and if there was something that basically my referring to my not liking the greens, was just sort of an opening to her being aware of anything in her perception at that moment that triggers that the right way versus the wrong way for something to be done. And clearly crumbs on a cutting board when you're cutting tomatoes is the wrong thing. There's something there that is yeah.
But the whole point of it was there was no shame about the crumbs, and it was just more like an I didn't even notice the crumbs. I'm just gonna wash it off because clearly it bothers me. Otherwise, I wouldn't project onto Todd that there's an issue with having that he thinks there's an issue with having crumbs on the table. That finger pointing there shows that there's something here.
Yeah.
I need to be aware of, and without any type of guilt or anything, it's just like, okay, I better wash the cutting board then.
Yeah.
So there is nobody, there's nothing personal in it at all. It's just about noticing how the mirrors on the inside of your bubble of reality is reflecting back to you. What is it actually reflecting back to you? And there's no right or wrong in it because there is no I that it can reflect poorly on. There's no Pernille in the middle having an insightful moment with crumbs.
Right. And part of it is you didn't have a meltdown. You weren't like, oh my God, they're crumbs. You were just like, oh.
Which if crumbs. I would needed to have an I in the middle and create fear, anger, guilt, and shame in it. In that case, it would have been shame.
Yeah. I'm slowly getting it.
So the difference is that there's nothing personal in it. It's just a reflection.
We've all been built with these subconscious rule books that we didn't choose. Nobody, for the most part, most of them were not instilled in us consciously by other people. It's things that we have just picked up and that we've learned by watching those in our families and our friend circles and society at large. And so we build up this whole rule book of the way things should be and shouldn't be, and also how things make us feel that, you might never have noticed that you have some little internal prickle when there are breadcrumbs, dry breadcrumbs touching a fresh tomato. And there's like this little internal that is so subtle that you would never even notice it, but you realize that there's something that has just
and I wasn't aware.
So it's just, these are things that are not, like you've been saying, not personal. They're not, they don't speak great truths about the person having it, and it doesn't relate to the, this idea of the being that like you said, Susan, would suddenly feel shameful towards it or something else. It's just like, oh, well, that's interesting. That's one more little axiom in the rule book that I was not aware of existed. It's like, it's kind of like peering into the computer code and seeing like, oh, didn't know that one was typed in there. And so, and then you just become aware of it as this kind of objective fact that, oh, okay, well, clearly there's something about that in there.
For example, we're going through the basement because we're clearing everything out. I just unpin you again. Thank you.
See you in a bit.
See you in a moment.
And hopefully we'll get to hear about your journey at some point.
Thank you.
May I ask a clarifying?
Even a check-in.
One second, Susan.
I just want to say one thing. At the moment, we're going through the basement and finding lots of old family recordings from Todd's family. His parents have lived in this house since 1965. So we have like everything in the family has ever happened from the people that are now no longer here. We have that in the basement. So we've been looking through your grandmother's 70th birthday and 80th birthday and Christmases. And it's so, you have had so many amazing experiences with that because you suddenly, with the ears you have now, hear a tone of passive aggressiveness, or hear a tone of placing guilt, or hear a tone which is just, which you never realized was there before, but is, like you say, just a little clue to the code that was between family members, the connection they had, the way they communicated and all that, which is part of creating a Todd. And it's the same with you. It's just like realizing what is part of that code without it being personal, without there being any blaming on any family member or parents or anything, because they too were not created in a vacuum. So it's just realizing another part of you to what is creating you. And yeah. So that was it.
I think, was it Susanna's voice who I heard?
Yeah, it is.
Hi.
I may be off base here, so please forgive me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry.
Wait,
I'm just trying to find
Todd is in charge of the
No, it's cool.
cursor.
I should not be. Sorry.
So when you're relaying the story, he said he didn't like the greens or wasn't sure he wanted the greens,
Yeah.
and you said, "I'm sorry." So when you were telling the story, when you got to that part, I'm a knee jerk, I'm sorrier. And so when you said that, and then you asked, why did you clean off the cutting board? Like my mind was like, what? She's not gonna say, why did I say I'm sorry? She's not asking that. When for some reason that's what stuck out to me, because I thought, well, she could have said, okay, well, let's see what else you might want, instead of saying, I'm sorry, because that's what I internalized. I would have done the same thing with the cutting board too.
Yeah.
But that's what
I love
kind
it.
of caught
I love
me.
it. Again, your experience is in the apologizing for something you have done, which means there's an I in the middle that have done wrong that can only do right.
Right.
In my experience with it, it was that he had an experience that was uncomfortable. I don't like that. I'm really sorry that he has an uncomfortable experience, because I want this one to float on rainbows all the time. So if he's not floating on rainbows and he's uncomfortable, I'm really sorry about that. That has nothing to do with me.
Right. I understand.
So the one to you in this is to notice how many times you feel guilty or shameful for something in your life, and you're trying to make other people be happy so they don't discover how guilty and shameful you actually are by accommodating other people's needs. Instead of staying with Susanna right here and being like, I am okay as I am. There's nothing I can be shameful about without me creating a story about it. In this moment right now, I am pure and perfect. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing that needs to change. Nothing needs to be different. If I perceive that person have an issue with that, I can right now choose to be curious to the other person's experience, because it cannot possibly have anything to do with me.
Right.
Afterwards, you can look at the mirror and going like, what was it that I created a story about that made me
Right. That's so good. The universe has been talking to me so much lately. I joined Codependence Anonymous, and it's like you just mirrored back exactly what I keep hearing in these meetings.
Yes. Yeah. Second fetter, sweetheart. It's in the second fetter. You will find it. And I can imagine, I can suggest that you mix the second fetter with the seventh fetter.
Okay.
Because those two together will help you in realizing how much something out of nothing you're creating all the time. And it will help you practice in unpinning. For everybody who's not used to what I'm sitting and saying right now, I just want to say that the unpinning is, if you imagine that you're sitting and looking on Google Maps, you see the landscape, it's there. I just unpin Susan. So there we go. Thank you for saying something.
Remove spotlight.
There we go. Yeah. So if you imagine you're sitting and looking at Google Maps, right? And you then place a pin. In that pin, you suddenly are on Street View. And you can see that direction, and you can turn and see that direction and that direction. You can see all the way around. What we would like for you to do with the fetters is we would like for you to unpin, because that pin makes it personal. That is you standing here on this street, and this is as far as I can see. This is as far as I can see. This is as far as this is the entire world. This is the entire Google Maps. This is all there is, but you only have that perception when you're pinning yourself. So if you unpin, suddenly you are up in the stratosphere, And there is not an I anywhere. There is not a starting point anywhere. There's an openness to whatever is arising. And when you work with the second fetter, it sometimes helps to put, and you're working with fear, anger, guilt, and shame, and the starting point, because that pinning, there's always a starting point where you see and hear things from a certain angle. It's about, like Susanna just talked about, me being guilty and shameful. It can be anger, it can be fear. There's a starting point where you view the world in a certain way. And sometimes it helps working with the seventh fetter, where you realize how much something out of nothing you have just created, because you cannot be shameful or guilty or fearful or feeling anger. That can only happen when you create a story about it. In this moment right now, you are. End of story. That's it. Everything else is stories that are being added onto it. Okay, that was the cutting board story.
Well done, thank you. I think we should start with John. He had his hand up first, but then also he waited 4 hours to speak last time,
He did.
and he posted that he has a job thing that he has to get to. So if you're there, thank you, John. Hey.
Hello.
All right, I figured it out this time, how to unmute myself.
Yeah.
Well done.
Sorry, and I just screwed up everything.
But,
Hold on.
so if you put that up your nose, then I will sort this out.
I'm talking now.
Thank you. Good to see you.
One of my coworker thought that I was talking to him, so I wanted to clarify that. Then I'll go into the other room with Dr. Rex here.
Hello, Dr. Rex.
Yeah, so I thought it was very interesting too that you brought up that like attribution question, like you're attributing the problem to being you, or like the thing that you're doing and you realize they're not even talking to you, or like when someone's waving at you like really intently in public, and then you don't know who they are, and then you kind of start waving back, and then you realize that they're waving to like the person behind you.
Exactly.
So much.
But yeah, I guess part of that, I guess all of this is that attribution error, just at different layers.
Yeah.
And like last time I had talked about, I think a lot of it was that sort of like wordless place where it's, it's sort of like maybe it's inner child. And yeah, I don't know that my question is like really particularly well formed about it, but I've been kind of looking at and confronting, because in the since the last video, I actually had a really bad episode of depression, and really just lost the will to live in a bit, and kind of wondering like, and obviously I'm doing all of the other sort of more direct clinical kinds of approaches to it, but I think it relates a lot to that feeling of like maybe a helplessness or a hopelessness, or like you're being pushed because you need to do something, but you can't do it, so there's like a futility to it in a sense. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, in my experience with that sort of thing, when there's a feeling of hopelessness and helplessness and futility, there's generally a fear behind that, because if there was no, helplessness presumes that there's something that you feel should be done or could be done, or some sort of a safety mechanism that would be put in place, which isn't, which is why you feel helpless, right? Like there has to be some sort of protection that we're looking for, something we're trying to avoid that we can't avoid, or something that we want to procure, that we can't procure. And so we have that feeling of helplessness because there's usually at the ground floor of that some feeling of existential safety that's being triggered. The irony is that, for some of us, the first go-to resolution to that is just, complete annihilation, which is sort of looking the tiger directly into the mouth without realizing that that's what we're doing. You're, you know, I think if you were coming down below the those feelings of, helplessness, hopelessness, futility, and notice what is happening beneath there. Do you, in your experience, have like a sense of baseline fear? Like, what is the worst case scenario that things go wrong, that you can't fix, that you can't do something? What does that inspire?
This is so there's two things about that. One is I want to go back to that particular moment, because in that moment, I think the thing that it was like, there was like a feeling of like, oh, you can't feel this or you can't handle this. And I think it was like kind of in the shame axis. Like, and what was crazy is that as soon as I sort of metaphorically stepped back from the ledge and then looked at my wife, and then I was like, okay, I just let it in. There's nothing there.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if it's just that it was like the notion of that shame or of it being a big deal. Like, God, it's gonna bug me what his name is, but I saved a clip of it from YouTube video, because he's talking about like this, like there's this electric fence, and what we do is we come close to the fence, and we're kind of like, you get close enough that it doesn't really fry you, but it's that enough that you're kind of tapping off the energy, and then when it's gone, you can hop the fence and see what's inside the building. And he even said at one point, he's like, there are a couple of these in my life where, I looked in the building and there was nothing there.
Yeah.
And so, like, for a moment, and then the cognitive side launched down a whole thing like, oh, I'm just a deep covered narcissist, and I actually don't feel these feelings. And so, like, and there's a degree to which, it just actually, while I was in the car driving today, and I just realized, like, no, actually, these really horrific people are not actually any more selfish than, or less selfish than I am. It's just that the things that they desire tend to align in ways that I would find abhorrent. Like, I don't think it's okay to use someone else's pain or misery to get what I want. At least not in like direct, overt ways, right? I mean, I think we all do a little bit of this kind of manipulating someone to get what we want kind of behavior. And anyway, so, but then the other one was, what did you say? You said come back to the, like, yeah. So the part two was that it's crazy because I feel like there's an alarm always going off, and I have no idea what it is or where it is. And like, because there will be moments where it like suddenly stops. My analogy for this is like you're on the hammock on like a nice summer day. It's not too hot, but you're like reading a book or something, and it's all quiet, and you stop reading for a moment, and you're just sort of enjoying the peace of the moment. And then your neighbor's air conditioner turns off. And then you realize, like, oh, wow, now it's actually quiet. And my joke was before that I called the first one diet quiet. And then the second one, like when their air conditioner goes off, or like when the air conditioner in this room goes off, I'll notice, like, oh, that sounded almost like thundering, compared to the silence here. But it's like there's some sort of alarm that's always going off. And I guess there's always a question of discernment of like, how much do you go peeling up the floorboards to look for that? Or if there's other practices to do that are just sort of like sideways to that, but will help you be more resilient to it.
Well, what you're talking about with that is what we call the underlying belief. It's where there's like an underlying belief of something being in a certain way, and you're not even questioning that underlying belief because that's just how it is. It's like, we know that the sun rises and the sun sets, we're not even questioning that, but actually it doesn't. The sun doesn't do anything. We rotate. So it's that
Right.
underlying belief that is there all the time, that we don't even question, and we don't feel we need to question. We're not even aware that we can question. That is an underlying belief. So what we're inviting to with the fifth fetter exercise is exactly that, becoming aware of it, but also notice that it doesn't change anything if I believe that the sun rises and the sun sets, or if I believe that the sun doesn't do anything, the earth rotates. It doesn't change anything. It's just about, and that's the whole point with doing all the fetters and doing the entire curriculum and taking out 5 years of your life to dive deeply into this. You're going to end out in the end, and nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. Nothing is different. The world is still the world, and you're still you. It's just how you perceive the world that is different. Because suddenly you have developed pathways in your brain where two things can exist at the same time without a dissonance. And that is
Yeah, you change
basically
your
what,
relationship to it.
yeah, and that is basically what your question is about. How deep do you go? And we're like, well, there is no deep to go, so go ahead. You can go as deep as you want because you're not going anywhere.
Yeah, it's all right here.
Yeah.
It all has to be right. It all has to be right here, right now, anyway.
Yeah.
Because it's
Yeah.
never been anywhere else.
Yeah, it's a bit like what I normally teach Todd with, that he's really good in conversations with people, in asking questions. So he kind of like take them by their hand and lead them out the forest one step at a time, where they realize the path they're taking until they come out of the forest, where I'm standing in the corner yelling, "There's no fucking forest," and that's the
Well, it's a
difference.
bunch of trees. That's right. Yeah.
No, there's not even trees. There's not even trees. There's like a perception of a tree, It's even
Yeah,
worse.
yeah, for sure.
So it's like you can dive as deep as you want. You can pick as much part as you want, because there is nothing you're picking apart. It doesn't even exist in the way that you believe that it is. And the fear that you have about it only exists as long as you maintain the forest, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Which I just want to offer that too. So with that ever-present alarm that you're not even aware of most of the time, is that like an embodied feeling of anxiety, stress, that kind of like an alertness? Is that what you're talking about, or is there something different?
That's the reason why it's like so baffling, is that maybe it is, and it's just like at a level of bodily tension that I'm not aware of or something. Or I mean,
How
it
is it
doesn't.
recognized? Like, how do you
Yeah.
know it's there?
Well, I'll have to pay really close attention to that next time it seems to drop away.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think there are places where it becomes more overt. I watched a video once where it was about like childhood trauma stuff, and the video was called like, "Are you really in trouble?" And he started listing off like, maybe you just feel like you started a new job and you feel like, this, maybe I just forgot to, submit something to HR or whatever. And he just starts listing off all of these just like diverse, different, like kind of random, like off the cuff. And I was like, 100%. Every single one of these things was describing me. And then I thought about it for a moment, and I realized, I was like, oh shit, it's like, the metaphorical frog in the slowly boiling water. Like, I just didn't notice that, if your stress gets higher, like 2% higher, 0.8% higher every day, by the time you're 40, like, you're going to be, like, ready for critical meltdown, but it's so bizarre to me. And that I think is the thing. Maybe that's like what my actual question is. Like, how would I go about finding it if I don't even know what it is?
I mean, the first,
like
you've had
it isn't
experiences,
there.
but you've had experiences where it seems to have dropped away, right? Like you've noticed it by its absence at certain points, from what I understand, right?
I wonder if it isn't something really subtle about thoughts, because also there's a little bit of that, like the extremist behavior where like extreme substance experiences or extreme like sports experiences, or like I got a little bit upset because my cold shower is not cold enough anymore. And
Oh my God.
what it's not cold enough for is it's not cold enough to stop thinking.
Mm.
So I think that that's part of it, is that like there's some notion that maybe like I'm the smart kid, I've got to figure this out. But it's like not, it's maybe just like silently whispered in my ear constantly, metaphorically, like, yeah, you got to figure it out, figure it out, figure it out. And it's like there's nothing to figure out. It's all,
And also, what are those things like? What is the point of the what is the point of the cold showers stopping thought? Like what there's a purpose behind that, and I'm sure many of these other things. So what is the problem that you are trying to escape from or divert from or at least temporarily undermine?
Yeah, I guess ultimately thoughts are not a problem, but the believing thoughts is the problem. And so it's like I don't need to get rid of thoughts, but I was like a little disappointed when I realized that, oh, the thing that made the bracing of the cold shower so effective and so relieving was that it was in part that it was stopping thinking. But there's something about what it is, because it's like what you said. I mean, my way of phrasing it is there's sort of a distance between what is right now and what could be or what should be, like in some mental model. And that distance that's the suffering, right? Like that's the struggle. Yeah. And so like you don't have to get rid of what is, and you don't like, and in a sense, like you don't even have to get rid of the could or should, but you can recognize that if you don't believe it anymore, if you just can innately recognize it's just a thought, it's ephemeral, then you're already free.
Exactly. Well, and also the bodily sensations, if those are part of it too.
I was just about to find that out.
Yeah, that we are either overtly or covertly making something out of all of the bodily sensations that are there too. We are assuming what they mean. We are assuming that, because I have this feeling of tension in the body, it's a premonition about what is going to happen in the future, or it's telling me that I really don't like something that's happening right now and I need to change something in order to be happy. Except then we change something and that feeling is still there, and now we're in this endless cycle of trying to change things to make that feeling go away when that feeling was not necessarily correlated to any of that. In fact, what needed to be done was to recognize that that is just a habitual sensation in the body, and that does not have any bearing on your well-being mentally or otherwise. Regardless, you can allow it to be there and then find an equanimity with whatever is here without constantly trying to shift your external experience in order to change your internal experience. But be like, going back to this morning's riddle, it's really about being aware of each of those sensations and each of those thoughts. What are the additional layers of beliefs about all of them, which is really what we're acting on. It's not the basic. I mean, if you're in the shower and you're thinking about what you have to do for the day, that's fine. That's not a problem. What the problem is all of the stress that you're building on all of those thoughts, all of the bodily sensations that arise when you have those thoughts that are uncomfortable, that you don't actually want to feel. And so the best thing then seems like to just get in a shower that's so cold that you can't feel anything or think anything, and then everything shuts down and you get a moment of peace. But it's like, somebody who's addicted to cigarettes, being in a room, locked in a room where there's no cigarettes, it doesn't stop you from being addicted to cigarettes. You just can't smoke at this moment. But as soon as you get out of the room, you're going to go find the nearest cigarette as soon as possible. So it's more important to work with the thoughts and your beliefs of the thoughts and be grateful that you have them so that you have something to work with, and work with the sensations in the body and how to question whether what I'm feeling actually relates to what I think I'm feeling or what I think it's about, because those what I think it's about come in so quickly that we take it for granted. I mean, it's like somebody holds up, an apple, and you name it as an apple, and you know what it tastes like and smells like and everything instantly. It's just part of our like stored knowledge base. So we do the same thing with all of the thoughts and all of the sensations that come up. We just use that sort of immediate referred knowledge to describe it where we shouldn't. It's not necessarily true. It's not accurate. This sensation is not the apple you thought it was.
Right. You're holding up a styrofoam apple. It's
Yeah,
none of those
exactly.
things. It just
Exactly.
looks like it. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Okay.
I think you actually can do, because it was exactly the same thing I would point to. It's noticing that when you have a thought about something and you want a situation to be different, you become aware that it's not actually that you want something else, because that is just another thought about something, and then you drop the wanting something else to be different, but there's still that feeling of unease in you. Instead of putting a label on that feeling of unease, instead of saying, but it's contraction in my stomach, or it's slightly nauseated, or it's anything, just sit with it. Don't try to act as if you're wise and that you can find out what a contraction in the body actually means. You have no wisdom or access to that at all. But can you just shut up and just be with that? So that discomfort that is arising, can you just be with that without trying to understand it, or may have a wish for it to get stronger or go away, or be in a life where it's not there? Can you just be with that without having an opinion about it or anything, and just allow things to be as they are? Because it's not so much the contraction that's the issue, it's all the thoughts about it, about what will happen when it's not there, or if it gets stronger. Or it's one of the things when we wake up in the morning and we don't feel quite right, immediately we have, oh my God, all the things I have to do today, as if the not feeling quite right now is also an issue in 5 hours. It's the not feeling quite right that is creating all of those thoughts. And we act as if it's the thoughts and the stories the thoughts are creating. Am I boring you too? That's a theme today. No, sorry.
No,
Sorry. It's just me being sorry. I have a very, very bad sense of humor. I'm usually the only one finding it funny. Then I found Todd, and he found me hilarious as well. So, right. I'm sad in gold. That's fine.
Well, I just wanted to make sure that you knew sincerely that it wasn't boring.
Okay.
I know I'm not.
So I think for me now it's time to do nothing.
Yeah.
But the key is not try to do nothing. You've got to actually sneak in sideways the doing nothing thing. And I think
exactly. It's that if you can have that image in your mind that you're like floating, you're in the water. There's nothing dangerous under you or anything. You're just floating, and a wave comes and you just bob away with the wave, and there's might be a current underneath, so you might start to turn, and you just float with everything.
That's making it make sense now, actually, because this may be a little bizarre, a little TMI, but like I noticed that after I meditated the other day, and I haven't in months because I realized it had become like a spiritual bypass. Mm-hmm. I had confused getting rid of the distance between what is and what should be or could be with like making making painful is go away. And it's you're not going to make that go away. And so it's, my inner wisdom was like, you need to stop for a while. Yeah. But anyway, so I did that. And then afterwards, I went to the bathroom and I went pee, and it felt like peeing in a dream. That's like, that was the initial impression. But then I asked myself, like, what is it that like, and there's almost a sense of like, there's a sense of letting go in a way that like, I'm going to get in trouble. Like I'm going to pee my bed because I'm going to wake up and my bed's going to be wet, or whatever. Yeah. I realized that there wasn't anything anymore. It was sort of like a sense of falling, but not just like a gravitational sense. It was like falling in all 6 senses at once.
Yeah.
And so then, because it's the answer to the thing earlier about when does the alarm go away. It's when there's like no trying, when you just stop and you're like, okay, I'm going to
Exactly.
sit before I even try to figure out what I'm going to do next. I just sit there and do nothing for a moment. And then all of a sudden it is actually quiet. There's nothing. Yeah.
And
Okay.
that is exactly what we're aiming for with the night fetter flow, where it's just being with that, flowing in whatever direction you're flowing without an opinion about it or wanting it to flow in a certain way. There we
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. It's time to do not doing. Okay. But
Yeah.
don't do
Yeah.
that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Get on
All right.
it.
Thanks, guys.
So
Thank
good
you so
seeing you,
much.
John.
Lovely,
So good
John.
seeing
Yeah,
you.
and thank you guys for letting me take so much time and go first here, because
Of course.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you didn't have to sit and wait 4 hours.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
thank you for that.
You earned it last time.
Yeah, it was basically us, John, Marcus that was hosting,
Yeah.
and Darkness.
Okay, so I think Davide was next.
Yeah, and then it's Joey.
Hi guys.
Hello, good to
Hi.
see you.
So good to see
How you
you.
been?
How are you doing?
Yeah. Okay, the thing we were talking last time, it definitely got better and better. It's like staying with the contraction, and
Yeah.
it's way easier to feel compassion and staying with it and seeing it for what it is. And it's like it's beautiful and terrible at the same time. And it's very, yeah. And I really loved your little story about the cutting board and the tomatoes because this is something that I notice more and more. It's like what is happening here, what in the last months has like changed the way I communicate and I relate. This relates to other people, and this is something that I haven't figured out still, because even the other thing that you were saying about like Todd is talking about the forest maybe with someone else and you're like in the corner screaming but there is no forest, and I feel like the one screaming there is no forest. And with this I started noticing so much stuff in myself, and noticing it in myself I started noticing it also in other people and all the
Yeah.
dynamics between people. And it's like there is this thing here that wants to be very direct and very clear in communication and talking about this and talking about this in a very direct way. But there is another part that doesn't want to be an asshole. I don't want to be an asshole to other people,
Yeah.
because I also feel a lot more like there is more empathy and more listening to people. I find myself listening more and more to other people, what other people have to say, and listening to their stories. And I see a lot of people, a lot of times people trapped in their stories, in their personal stories, in their thoughts. And it would be from here. It happens that I see that it's that they are stuck in their stories and there's suffering in them, and so but I don't know how to communicate this to them, and I don't know if I should communicate this to them, and because they have their conditioning, I have mine, and this is maybe also related to my identification still, because I want this to be validated by other people. I don't know. It's on the communication level that I find it.
Yeah.
Uh,
The the Buddha had a really good. He had many great things, but one of them was that you don't, if you don't have anything kind to say and it's not really helpful and it's not really fun, for now, then you shouldn't say anything. And it's one of the reasons I love working with the fifth fetter, because it keeps coming back to you. When you see they are stuck in their story, you recognize yourself in them. It's not about them. But if you have a need to tell them that they're stuck in the story, you're diverting from the discomfort it is for you to be stuck in your story. And you telling other people, helping other people to see that they're stuck in the story can just be a diversion from you actually staying with being stuck in the story yourself.
I
It's
mean,
so easy to help. Yeah, sorry.
I have no problem recognizing that there is also a projection component in this that I'm
Absolutely.
projecting. But sometimes most of the times I feel like it's both. There is me wanting this to be validated and recognized, but there is also like seeing that other people are stuck in their thoughts, and this causes them suffering. Like when I see someone clearly suffering because it feels like he is me is the individual is not seen or it feels wrong. I see that they are trapped in this
Yeah.
thinking, and I want really sincerely want to
To
also
help.
help them. I
Yeah.
think that there is both. I have no problem like admitting and recognizing that there is
Yeah.
also a projection component.
The best thing you can do, and it's a thing that both Todd and Socrates does, it's ask questions.
Mm, mm,
Because if you tell them, you're talking about yourself.
yeah.
If
Okay.
you ask a question, you put yourself in a position that you see something, you have humility enough to know that you're not sure that what you see is actually what you see, or if you just see yourself reflected. So
Yeah.
therefore you ask a question.
It's
So
the
you ask a question into their experience about it, and then you just keep being kind and curious. Whatever they experience and whatever they tell you, you can ask another question about. So you with them, like Todd do, take them in the hand, and they find with you in their hand their way out of the forest. But you do that with asking questions to their experience of it. So
Mm,
it's their experience
yeah.
that we're talking about. It's not how you perceive them, because that is something you can speak with your therapist about. It's not something in the conversation.
Yeah. And also that, like, I make it a point never to bring up any of this sort of thing that we talk about here with people in regular life.
Yeah.
If someone is open to something and they come to you and they ask you a question, then that's different. But I would never just give general advice to people. Like Pernilla said, maybe, asking about their experience of what's going on. But again, doing it with no agenda. Because if somebody is really locked into belief in their thoughts, belief in their story, if they've never done any, non-duality or have no inclination towards any of that stuff, bringing up any of this can be like, for them, invalidating them as a person, invalidating their reality, their lived reality. And it can they can become very defensive very quickly, and that just utterly defeats all of the well the
The
doing
well
good,
wishes.
the well wishes, yeah, and the doing good that you want to do gets completely destroyed by just trying to kind of impose on them something that they're not ready to hear. So it's really important to always meet people where they are and not think
Where you want them to be.
exactly, yeah, not think, well, I think they should see that, they would be so much happier if they would just realize that they're making this huge drama out of nothing. Yeah, but they might not be. They're not necessarily ready for that. That drama is providing something for them that you are trying to remove without putting anything else in its place. And you don't know for them what they need to get out of that drama, what that is supporting for them, and how destabilizing it could be if suddenly they didn't have that. So
And
yeah, it has to really
it
be.
makes it that you can, if you meet everybody with kindness and you validate and reassure their experience of it, they will have insights, even though it's not what we're on the level we're talking on here, or therapy or anything. But the majority of people and I'm talking to all of you, the majority of people that you're going to meet today and next week, they have not been heard for so long.
Yeah.
They have not been met for so long. So you just meeting them where they are and acknowledging their experience where it is. I had a conversation with a neighbor the other day, and he is very, very different from us in everything. I can't.
Yeah.
I think we pee and we eat, and that is sleep, and that's about the only similarity that there is. But we still had a really nice conversation, and he left and felt like happy, and there was a little bounce in his step when he left for the conversation, and we hadn't talked anything about therapy or anything, but just listening to his experience and concerns, and it automatically come up and validate what he's experiencing is more than has been done for 25 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you want people to feel reassured and you want to be a force of good in the world, then really putting yourself in the back seat and just be there for the other person, validate their experience and listen. You don't have to agree, but you can agree in the suffering, like with the cutting board, that Toddy come and say, I don't think I like that. I'm not talking about me, but I want him to experience good in the world, just like with the neighbor. So I can say, I'm really sorry about that. Whatever he's experiencing, because I do want him to experience good in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And I already had experiences. Even like last night, I was talking with this old lady, and she had like memory problems. So she like continued repeating the same five things over and over. But there was this like peace and beauty in just listening to her, because she was like talking about her nephews and like her son. And she, even if she kept repeating the same things over and over, she was so happy to talk with me about those things that it was beautiful. Just listen to them, like without the need to listen to something interesting or to something new or to something like just to please the mind. Yeah, I find this, and this is very new for me, because this has been very lonely for so many years, and now it feels like I want to be close to people, more close to people than before, and so it's new for me, like managing communication not on a transactional level, but on a very heart-to-heart level.
Yeah.
It's
not
beautiful, but it's new, so it gets a little bit disoriented. It doesn't really know how.
It's not I'm giving you something and you're giving me something.
Oh, it's just
It's a heart connection, exactly. So it's much more of an exchange of being human, like you experienced with the old lady. That is just spending time and just listening to her talking. And even though she's talking about her nephews over and over and over, and you hear so many times the same story over and over and over, it's not about that. It's about spending time with another person and feeling the other person.
Listener. Yeah, she was so happy. It was beautiful.
So that is exactly, it's exactly the wish that you have with wanting to connect and have a community and all of that. You can have that with anyone all the time, because you just creating space and being kind and listening to what other people they experience, and then at the same time you get lots of gold nuggets for your own development, for your own work, because everything you hear they say is saying something about you. So you have lots of nuggets to work with, and that is what you can take here or take to Vince's group or take to Discord and go into depth with it there.
Yeah, there is this, and this is beautiful. And there's still the old conditioning going on sometimes, and this wants to be seen and validated. And so even this, it's like there is this story that screams, "Oh yeah, look at me! This is what has been realized. That you need to tell the whole world and make yourself seen."
A thing that I can recommend you to do, and this goes for everybody, no matter what you have in the second fetter, where, for example, where you say that you really want to be seen and be validated, go out there and see and validate other people.
Mm-hmm.
All that you can, see and validate everybody you meet, no matter if it's in traffic, yeah, you can go in front of me, or no matter, see and validate everybody, and notice how much that actually meets the need that you have. Because it's the seeing and the validating of you that you need. You don't need me to validate you. You need you to validate you, because you're with you 24/7. So if you start to practice the seeing and the validating of other people, in that you see and validate you. You're healing yourself when you're healing others like that.
Yeah, right.
So if, and I'm talking to everybody, if you have a feeling there's not enough love in the world, go out and love everyone unconditionally and see the magic that is going to have in your life. Nobody listens to me. Nobody accepts me like who I am, for who I am. Go out, unconditionally accept other people for who they are, and see the magic that is going to have in your life. Because it's not something that you can get from others anyway. If it doesn't ring true in you, when you're seen or validated or accepted, it doesn't ring true. So you need to practice it yourself.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, even like this part that says, yeah, I want to be listened, I want to be seen. Yeah, but are you seeing the other people? Are you listening to other people? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Love it, David. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Love it.
So good seeing you. So good seeing you.
Thanks, man.
Thank you. And then we have Gretchen. Hello. Good to see you.
How are you?
Hi.
Hey.
Am I unmuted now?
Yeah.
You're good. We can hear you.
Good. Well, thank you for having me in the group. I've been looking at the material quite a bit, watching a lot of your videos, and I've had a lot of really a lot of time to practice. Even just today, I had some great experiences. I had to go to the drugstore. So we're living in Italy, just moved here from the US about 7, 8 months ago.
Wonderful.
And we only know a little bit of Italian. It's much harder to learn than I anticipated.
It always is.
Yeah. So I had to go to the drugstore to pick up some medications for my cat, and I had, my Google Translate out so I could say, and even when I'm saying the Italian things, I'm not pronouncing it well enough. I guess as she kind of looked confused, the pharmacist, they're very good because many times they're very gracious and try very hard to do what they can and help. And many of them speak a little bit of English and always apologize for their English. And I say, no, it's me who should apologize. Anyway. So, but I was working with what you were talking with John earlier about bodily sensations, and then from watching your videos, and really just realizing that I couldn't find what I was looking for on the shelf, and my number came up at the pharmacy, and I see my number come up at the window, and then I'm thinking, oh, I can't find what I need, and now I have to go up there and say this, and I'm going to be saying it, and I'm not. And I could feel like my gut clench, right away.
Yep.
But what I did is I was really thinking, okay, Todd and Pernilla are saying like, pay attention to the feel, let the feeling be there, find another spot in your body or something. So I felt like my hands felt comfortable, my gut felt upset. And I did think like, I did have the thoughts of like, oh, this is probably because you're feeling anxious about going up and saying something. It's because you don't want to look stupid, because whatever. But I also thought maybe it's that, and maybe it's just other conditioning. Like you don't know what it is, like just go up and who cares? Like just go up. And so anyway, thank you. I've just been working with those, just even those kind of things, as well as a lot of other insights that you offer and the material offers. But just that in and of itself is enough. Provides a lot of material. So
yeah,
I'm happy about that.
That is so wonderful. That is so amazing. Thank you. Yeah.
So and I'm excited for your move to Italy. I'm curious to hear how all of that.
It's almost parallel, isn't it? We're in the same boat as well, practicing Spanish all the time, and
it's really nice to see. It's a really good experience in part of seeing just things that you took as normal, things that were just you thought were just like, I didn't even know you had an assumption, didn't even know I had an assumption about that.
Exactly.
Then it's done slightly differently, and it's like, oh, I didn't even know I did that.
Yeah.
Just very
Yeah.
like really minor things. Like there's not as much well, we're living in a medium-sized city. So we live in Bologna. So it's not a small village, and so it might be different there, but we've lived in a lot of places in the US, and there's just so much less eye contact here on the street in public. When you're meeting someone, people just kind of keep to themselves. And at first I thought, oh, this is so weird. Like, how am I gonna, I'm so used to just kind of like, hello, hello to when you meet. But very quickly I realized how much it just kind of gave everyone their own space to have their own experience without putting on a face for someone and having to like, hi, how are you today? When maybe you're just like in your own thoughts. And so just something that I never even, that's just one piece, but there are just a multitude of ways that just tiny differences make me aware of things that I didn't even know I was assuming. And then now I can see the value in this too. This,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It was exactly what we spoke with John about, that it's that underlying belief that we have that we're not even aware is there. We're not even aware that it is a belief. And it's not until like you experience that somebody else is doing it differently and you can stay curious and going like, oh wow, and then suddenly see the value in both, that they're equal, they're equally valuable. There's not any of them that is better or any of them worse. They're just different ways of being. Yeah, I love that. I love that, Joey. Amazing.
Oh,
really nice meeting you.
Happy to have you here.
Yeah, happy to have you. Yeah. Are you on Discord? Are you in
no,
there?
not yet.
I'll send you afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thanks so
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
Bye.
Bye.
I love stories.
Yeah, that's wonderful. We got Barney next.
Hello.
Hello, Barney.
Hello. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
All right.
Sorry.
Hello, everyone else. It's really exciting to be here and kind of nervous as well, but yeah.
No need, but thank you. It's good to have you here.
And it's good to own that you're nervous for coming on and speaking.
It's an old story habit. Yeah, it's a lot easier now, but yeah.
How does it present itself? How do you know that you're nervous?
Sensation in the body.
So how is the sensation?
Pretty all-encompassing, really. Like a fiery electric kind of tension. There's a lot in the throat. But it's a lot easier now. I don't really label it so much anymore. It's just yeah. I kind of want to just like, yeah, it's all right. Let's get on with some other stuff maybe, because there's a lot of other stuff.
But I love looking into how it feels, because a lot of times when we have that, I'm really nervous, then we just have a label on it, and we don't really inquire into, but how do I know that this feeling I have in my body right now is actually that I'm nervous or angry or fearful or shameful or anything, excited? How do I actually know? Because we tend just to jump over that experience. So like you say, it's like an electricity firing in the body. Well, it's the same I have when I'm in love. How do I know I'm not in love right now and that I'm actually nervous about speaking on camera? It's that just being curious, because the body doesn't have that many tools. The combination of contractions are not that variated. It's the same nervousness we feel when we're about to go on a stage, or if we're about to have the first kiss. It's the same tool belt. There's not that much that the body actually can do. So it's the attached thought to the bodily sensation that is actually the whole story, because the body can't introduce that much new. A contraction is a contraction.
But that's what's changed recently, the labeling of it, because that just added a whole other level of or resistance to
Love
it and
that.
everything. So
Yeah, I love that.
yeah.
Love that.
So there's excitement as well, because this feels like just a valuable space to uncover stuff. There's so much coming up. It's a little bit overwhelming for the mind, I guess.
Yeah,
Because it's so
exactly.
used to practicing or working with stuff, and now there's just stuff coming up, and it doesn't really feel like I need to do as much with it with the mind as in
Exactly.
so
Exactly. Instead of just being with it.
exactly.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
whatever thought comes up, it's just, the ego trying to put a little label on it, put it in a little neat box, and then I know where it is, and then I don't have to look at it. What you're doing sounds like you're just allowing whatever is coming, and a thought can arise and disappear. I mean, what happens to a thought when you don't think it? So it's that, it just arises and disappears, and there's no attachment or label or anything going on it, which is immensely freeing, because when you are then with yourself and you have nervousness, it's suddenly not nervousness anymore. It's just fluttery contractions in the body, and that is that. And when you speak with other people, and if they say something that annoys you or angers you or make you feel shameful, you can copy paste that experience, that they're not doing anything to you. It's just a sensation arising in the body. A thought can create a story about what just happened, but in this moment right now, there's just sensation in the body, and now it's not there anymore, and now something else is happening, and now it's Tuesday. It's just like that open flow to whatever is arising that creates such freedom, particularly if we have had very solid stories and assumptions and judgments about ourselves and the world. It just creates so much freedom in just noticing what is actually arising, not what I think is arising, but what is actually arising in this moment. And it's just, yeah, that feeling of flow that we talked about with John.
Yeah, it's
Love it, Vanya.
it's a little intense as well, but I've just got off retreat, and it feels like something kind of shifted then, and it's just like it feels like all of these little behaviors that are linked to identity are just really obvious now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's okay, but it's just a little startling, I guess.
So when you feel it as I know what you mean. I'm just being, I'm just drilling here. So
Sure.
when you have that feeling of it being intense, compared to what?
When it's not. Well, I guess I'm talking about the anxiety more than anything, because that's always been like, it's been big here.
Yeah.
So when that's not here, it's
Yeah,
but
exactly.
yeah, it's more okay now. But it's,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and sorry, can you say more about um the anxiety?
Anxiety.
Yeah, is it that um well, it was when you said that, you know, it's been okay. There's been, it sounds like there's been less of it, but what is it's
It's a question
yeah,
about the
yeah.
intensity. Yeah.
Yeah. So mm, there are a few things that you brought up that I'm not sure how they connect. So when you had said about um after you came off the retreat that you found that there are, kind of a lot of self-structure things that you weren't like aware of. And then um how does the anxiety relate to that? Is it been that there's been more anxiety uh now that things are coming up more and you're kind of like less stable in how you address
okay.
things that you once took for granted? Or yeah, I want to make sure I'm understanding.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, no, so it doesn't really connect. The
Okay.
anxiety is just the
Okay.
most intense one, and then at the same time, there's all this other stuff coming up, which is not that intense, just really obvious. Yeah.
So does the anxiety seem to be like, have you had like a lifelong thing with
Yeah.
anxiety or?
No, probably mid-teens.
Okay.
Yeah, I really started to develop. It's social anxiety, doubt, low self-worth, self-hatred, all of them,
Yeah.
Sounds like you.
Yeah, I recognize that implicitly. So that's what I'm wondering, like how your perception of all of that has shifted, like after the retreat, or also with other work that you've been doing.
I guess it's catching the stories more, just being with it more, the sensation of it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem, I don't think it's decreased that much, but it's more okay,
Which is good. Something I would recommend too, though, is when you have that feeling of anxiety or those stories about self-worth, the social anxiety aspect, or any of those things, using that moment to turn back, use that as like a reminder for a moment of inquiry, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, to look back at where exactly is that story pointing to. There seems to be, if you have an idea about, the low self-worth of this being, or the social anxiety is a really good one, because you, in a position where you are, surrounded by other people, you are seeing their eyes pointing back at something specific, right? All eyes are focused someplace. Their thoughts about you are focused someplace. So using the social anxiety moment, anxiety, which is always about a self. There is, you cannot have anxiety without some thought about a self who is here now or will be here in the future, or there's something which is being defined that there's anxiety coming up about. Um, Feeling of self-worth literally has to be about a self something. So no matter which of those is showing up for the moment, let that point back and use that as a moment of inquiry to look back. What is it pointing at? What is it that it's trying to define?
Right. Well, an idea of me.
And don't just go for like the uh I don't say easy answer, but like, like the first thing that comes up, sure. But really look, like if you can picture yourself right now, like being in a socially anxious situation. I mean, there are a lot of faces here. There's a lot of, it could be one of those situations right now, or if it's easier, just imagine another situation that's particularly potent or whatever works for you, and feel, right? You will feel something specifically in the body as to where like you are located, whether it's, the Barney himself or something that is like the self that is located, that is the one that they are all judging, looking back at, having thoughts about, describing, criticizing. Where is that? And instead of just looking for the pat answer of, well, it's my thoughts about me or something, like actively try to find it.
It's the face, it feels like. Yeah.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
So if you can feel that, right? So like right now, without, from the internal experience of you, your face is basically a thought, right? You can't see your face. So notice, first of all, that if you have, um, this social anxiety moment or something, are you picturing other people seeing your face? And are you literally seeing your version of what you think other people are seeing? Because right now you don't really know what your face looks like. So you have to be fabricating something. So what is your experience of other people's criticism of your face, or thoughts about your face, or seeing of your face?
Oh, that is pretty subtle. When it's to do with, there's like maybe an image of their faces looking at this face.
Good. So is any of that based on an identifiable reality in this moment? Can you determine for sure that they are looking at your face, that they are even seeing the face that you are imagining in your mind, that you are literally creating for yourself? Again, it's not your actual face. This is the brain is generating a thought that looks like a face, and you're assigning identification with that thought face, and then assuming, again by thought, what other people are thinking about that thought face that you have just created in the mind. All of that is just a hierarchy of thought built on thought, built on thought, built on thought. And none of it is actual in your experience. None of it is verifiable. It's an entire anxiety built around thought. It's a thought world. And so what I would recommend is to notice when any of these things kicks in, notice the physical sensations that are there, wherever they are in the body. In particular, you might also find that there's a lot of activity happening up in this space, which is drawing your attention there. But what I would like for you to be aware of is anything that you think is your projection, which means if other people in your mind are being critical or judgmental or thinking about your face, that's because internally you are being critical or judgmental or thinking about your face. But you are only also thinking about this imagined face that you think you have, that you think other people are seeing.
So it's something that's popped up. There's something, there's like a catch-22 in it almost, where it's like chicken and the egg a bit. Like where if I do that, then start feeling anxiety and stressed and stuff, then I do actually get that kind of response in a social situation. Like people kind of start going, whoa, and and it can spiral kind of thing. So it's like, but yeah, no, I see what you mean. That's my mind being tricky.
Yeah. Well, if you're in a social situation, I mean, obviously, yes, we all kind of, betray the inner processes that are going on inside of us, so you can see a lot about people. I mean, Pernilla is a particularly good example that she can see so much just by looking at somebody, based on micro expressions and things happening that we are not consciously aware of, but the face is doing all sorts of things that are reflecting the thoughts going on underneath the surface. But their reaction to what they see is still just their projection of what they think you are experiencing, and so them recoiling or acting weird is because they have an entire story about what is going on in there that they're not privy to. They have no more idea of what's going on in your head than you have of what's going on in their head. So we end up with this really absurd situation in social gatherings where you have all of these people that are just living entirely in their own self-created
Little
bubble
bubbles,
worlds.
yeah.
And we're all kind of interacting, but we're interacting through this veiled reconstruction of what other people might be experiencing. And we have absolutely no direct access to it. But for those of us, and like Pernilla said, I've been my whole life, I've had really, really bad anxiety, literally since infancy. And it's just had been so bad through most of my life. And thankfully, this work helped dramatically. Whenever we have any of those anxious perceptions about the instance that we're in, or it's even more prevalent when we have anxiety thinking about the future, because then you can at least look around and say, okay, well, I know clearly this is all just in my mind, right? I am imagining a future that does not exist right now.
Well, that's another thing. Like almost any thought about the future brings even a little tension, but the same sensation basically.
Yeah. But recognize right then, right? So you can feel it, and you can be you can do the equanimity practice of feeling what anxiety feels like in the body, and then you take the label off and you realize it's just, turbulence, bubbling, heat, tension, sweating, whatever it is for you at that point. But it's just let it be those sensations. But notice that if you are anxious about the future and you look around right now, there's literally nothing to be anxious about right now, right? The thing that you were just envisioning does not actually exist. There is no proof that that future such scenario that you just pictured is actually going to come about. You literally can't know.
Yeah.
So bringing it back always, anytime you have one of those future anxiety situations, come back to the actual room that you're in. Where are you really right now? And then experience, okay, so the body is basically reacting to a thought. The body is reacting with a fear response to a thought about something which is not actually present.
Mm.
It's like, you've put on your virtual reality helmet, you're looking at something that's scary, and the body is reacting to it, not realizing that it's not real. You take off the helmet and you realize, oh, actually, I'm not being, invaded by aliens or something. Like, this is what is here right now, and there's nothing inherently scary or anxiety producing about it. So keep taking off the virtual reality helmet of thought and realize that any projection about the future isn't actually happening right now. Keep coming back to what's here and allow the body to, the nervous system to calm back down again. And, oh, okay, I'm safe. It's fine,
So, sorry, go. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I was just saying, but then when you are in an actual, like, anxiety producing situation, like with the social anxiety or something, then also be aware that it's the same basic thing. Whatever you're creating in the mind in that moment is creating a self which is in the middle of a dangerous or scary situation. And you're going to find so many keys to what the self feels like in that moment, right? Like that is we talk about the self all the time, but anxiety or anxious situations are one of those places where it is the most readily available. If you want to know what the self is that we talk about, this fictionally created feeling of being the I in the center of the experience, have a moment of, anxiety in a room of people that you feel are looking directly at you.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the self. So where is that found? Question in that moment, if you can, is it even real? When you do that moment of self-inquiry and turn it around and find, where is the self who is being judged? I feel sensations. I have thoughts in the mind. I see an image of a face that I imagine other people judging. I see a backlog of memories of things talking about this particular body and this particular personality. But where in any of that is the inherent self, which seems to be at the center of that dangerous or anxiety producing situation? And when that frees up, then the anxiety has nothing to cling to, because the story, the anxiety is about a story, and the story is always about a self who's in the middle of that story. Can't really have anxiety about a story with no central character. Something has to be happening to somebody for you to have any sort of buy-in to it. And it's the same whether you're watching a movie or whether you're actually living it inside of your head. Sorry, you were going to ask?
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, no, when it pops up the most is when I'm just trying to go off to sleep.
Yeah.
And then thoughts are like a lot more sticky than normal, it feels like. So maybe just doing it during the day, that kind of practice is better.
Yeah, I mean it's good anytime you notice it.
Yeah.
Really. If they're particularly sticky, that's okay. Just notice then why okay. I say why, but it's not really
It's not a why,
not
like
really a why. Notice that they're sticky and see if you can notice what is giving them that feeling of stickiness? What is it that makes them now feel suddenly believable, whereas they weren't 5 hours ago? And it might be something in the body, it might be something in the thoughts. Notice that there's a difference, and just put on your little detective hat and see what nuance there is now that seems to be giving it that impression of stickiness, that buy-in that you didn't have when you were, wiser and more detached from it a few hours before.
And I just want to say to anybody that has anxiety or depression or suicidal ideation or agoraphobia, anything like that, that Toddy has written a book about it. It's an amazing book. It's not a light-hearted read. And it's not quite a poetry book, but it's not a poetry book.
Yeah.
It's called Only in Your Mind, and it's available on Amazon, on everywhere.
Thank you.
And I can warmly it's and I'm not biased in this. It's really, really good. I can warmly recommend anybody who's interested in this process to read it, because there are so many recognizable things in it, and that is no matter where on the scale of agoraphobia and suicidal ideation and anxiety and depression you are, because it's about that conviction that we can have about things being in a certain way, that the entire world is shaped into that shape. And the book is written in a way. Can you take it?
You wanted to turn this into a book?
No. I just want so it's recognized. So it's this one. It's this little light read. And it's called Only in Your Mind, and it's on Amazon. And it's written over,
it was like 20 some years, like 25 years.
Yeah, so it's like over 25 years, where it's poems and writings that he has made over 25 years that he then edited, and it's the entire experience of going from having so much agoraphobia and panic attacks that he even had it in his own home.
Yeah, I mean, I literally couldn't leave the house. And then it got to the point where even in the house, I was still having panic attacks because the mind was taking over. It was like I didn't have to be in an external situation that was in any way threatening. The mind made these safe places equally as threatening. I would just hear something outside and immediately assume people were trying to break into the house, or there would be something that was it was filling in the gaps and creating something that could cause anxiety out of absolutely anything. And it didn't matter how logically unlikely they might be. That had like no, the logical bearing had no relevance at all. It was really its own process. And again, the important thing was that I really discovered all of that had to have the self in the middle that needed to be protected. And it was when I started getting into Buddhism and doing meditation and finding out about anatta, no self, and all of that, I finally started to get a relief from it, because I realized that if I just let go of that self that needed to be protected, the anxiety would just collapse. There had to be somebody who needed to be protected, that anxiety was trying to protect and creating stories about to try to keep it safe. And it just, it was basically creating its own false character was writing it's like the brain is writing a story, fabricating the protagonist of the story, and then also for fabricating all of the trials and tribulations that protagonist has to go through, and is trying to protect them from its own creation. So the whole thing was just like I said, this world of thought that was just built on more thoughts. And even with I remember there was so much relief just hearing about the concept of no self, like not even having to, actively have experiences of it yet. It was just the philosophy, the knowledge that oh, okay, I don't really exist that way. Okay, that was enough to relieve so much of the anxious pressure that was there. And that's what got me into teaching meditation and going down this path the way is because it was so the anxiety had been so debilitating for so many years, and it was such a profound change in the way that I process things. And still, I mean, the nervous system is created during a lot of yeah, tension and things, and it's still there's definitely a proclivity towards that kind of thinking in the mind, but it is a completely different experience than it used to be.
So it's just to say to anyone out there that experienced that you're not alone.
Not at all.
And what I like about the book and why I find it so brilliant is that because it's written as poetry, you are allowing the reader to put themselves into the experience, because you are creating the story when you read it. It's not Todd's story, it's your experience with his words, which just makes it brilliant. And it's at the same time, you also have a guru in it, Vasada Maitri, that is sitting at the other side and experiencing life as it is now.
We all kind of have a wiser self that
we all have
navigates us.
We all have a guru that can wisely guide us in a direction.
Yeah. Even when we have a manically delusional, anxious, writer in there who's just creating all sorts of unnecessary drama for us throughout most of the day.
And if you read one of the poems and you go like, this is completely insane, then it's probably during the psychotic break.
Could be.
So you guys, you're not alone. You're not alone.
No.
It is lived experience on this side as well.
Been through a lot. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Barney. It was lovely meeting you. Yeah.
Thank you very much. It's funny, I came with like a couple of questions, but I think I got stuff to work with there. But
did I cover? Was that sufficient?
And like the reactivity is a big thing as well. Is it worth looking at that and going into that a bit?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
can we do it next time?
Yeah.
Would you be okay if we do that next time?
Sure.
Next time is the 11th of August, and then we can just take you first, like we did with John.
Lovely, thank you.
Okay,
if you're up for that, okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Are you on Discord?
Yeah, I had a look at it.
Okay, good.
It was a little like, whoa, what am I looking at? But
Yep.
It's like
give it time.
It's like that.
So good meeting you, Barney. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you. I'm just going to make a note to remember Barney next.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And actually, before we take Pierce next, can I just have a 2-minute bio break?
Okay, bio break, everyone. That's a short bio break.
Right back. We're back.
We're back.
Thank you for that.
Thank you for your patience.
Where's the next?
So we're ready for another 4 hours. Hello, Piers.
Oh, good to see you. How you been?
Hey guys. Yeah, good. It's really nice to see you again. I love that conversation you just had there with Barney. I really relate to it. And I also just came off retreat. Maybe it was the same one, Barney, with Angela.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. And it's so funny because on one of the days of that retreat, whilst I was meditating in this room, with no tigers around or anything like that, I felt this feeling in the pit of my gut, which is nothing new to me. I'm very familiar with it, and I was aware. I can label it. I can say yes, tension, pressure. Even at times in my life, it can be like terror. But it wasn't that strong on that day, but it was there nevertheless. And I'm mentioning it now because at that time, there wasn't like, I couldn't say that there was a conscious thought that was generating that. Maybe, sure, subconscious things going on, but I wasn't like futurizing or going into the past or things like it was just like just maybe whatever the meditation I was doing, and it just it just arose, and I was very aware of the mind wanting to label it. And so just it is quite a curious thing to go into it without the labels, just that sensation, and noticing the like the mind always wants to say this is good or bad or neutral, essentially, isn't it? And just kind of noticing that. But yeah, so I don't really have a question around that, but it's just something that arose, and I have often wondered whether thoughts create these sensations or sensations can generate the thoughts, or if it's a two-way street. And I think
it's a two-way street.
That's my part. Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the sensations are arising and thoughts is creating a story of it. I believe it's thoughts doing it. Because we can see in babies, we just saw a video this morning of my grandson. He was born 10th of Jan, so he's like 7 months, and he's like creeping on the floor, and the way he's perceiving what is happening around him is like with such an open curiosity. And obviously I'm sitting and noticing his muscle tonus and how his feet are moving when there's an insight, and so I can see how everything goes like up in his body. And it's, to me at least, it's very clear that something is happening in the body without thoughts creating a story about it. And then on the other hand, a lot of thoughts are happening that are activating something in the body. So I think it's thought. Something is happening in the body, and the 5% of our conscious mind, you're 100%, 95 is subconscious, 5% are conscious, and those 5% is where the ego sits and where we believe I know everything. And we are pattern seeking creatures. We love to see meaning and understanding in everything, and I think that is what is happening, that we create something out of nothing because that makes us feel safe. It's predictable. It's nice when I know what is happening. Oh, now I know what it is. And then we can relax. That is basically just the mind creating a story that it then convince itself about is okay, and then the mind can relax and the story just create about itself. That it's just this own little bubble where everything is happening, and what is happening in the tentacles out here is kind of like secondary.
There are, though, like habitual ways that, nervous system activation or something in the body, or, certain like hormonal states that tend to be, and you can talk more about that, but we sort of have, each of us have like certain proclivities that, we kind of default to a certain pattern of being that the body can be in, like a certain way off. I'm thinking like a particular personal story that I didn't realize I had maybe similar to what you're just talking about, but there was like this constant sort of edgy unease in the body that I was never actually aware. It was almost like an alertness that I never was aware was there until we had gone to Denmark for the first time, and I realized it dropped away. And then it was like, oh, there's like an alertness of being in the US, of being in, whatever I had built up around it, all the years of anxiety, whatever. Never realized it was just there. It was like a background hum of life that I was really unaware of until we went to Denmark. And it was like, I think something's missing. And it was like that part had relaxed. That part felt safe or quiet or, safe enough or whatever, that it calmed down for a bit. And then when we got back home, it, right back on, like, there it is. So there was something about it, but it was something that was so just a fundamental part of existence that I never even realized that it was just like a background hum of the body, that then in a different location that could shut off.
That almost sounds, Todd, like it's slightly environmental.
Yeah, well, I think this is.
But again, nothing is created in a vacuum,
Exactly.
We can never. We really would like now to create a little story to understand what happened, and then, the intellect is happy and jubilating in the corner. But we can never ever know, because it can be anything. It can be, biochemistry or the nervous system or endocrinology, or it can be the stories you grew up with, what happens here. It can be opening a newspaper and gun violence. It can be so many things. We have no idea. It can just be that he doesn't speak the language, so therefore he's not scared in Denmark. It can be so many things. We have no idea. We have no idea. So it's better if we can place ourselves in a position of ambiguity, that everything that I don't know is okay. It's okay that the world is full of things, and I'm full of things that I don't know and I will never ever have access to, and that's okay. And I know for some of us, now I'm pointing at you, Piers, it can be really, really difficult being in the world where you cannot intellectually grasp and understand and put it into a little neat box. That can be scary, really, really scary, because then what do we have? Because you have created a life for yourself where that equals safety. So you having the experience where you relax that much, whatever happened on the retreat, again, don't try to intellectualize it, because you haven't got a chance. You're not that wise. That something happened on the retreat that put you in a position where you could relax, be in that Denmark state. And suddenly your nervous system goes, careful with the tiger. There's a tiger in the corner. And then you become aware, and then it happens, So I think it's if you can just embrace that new field that you are entering now, something has loosened in you and opened up in you to be with ambiguity, where you can sit with something arising, not knowing why it arises, and that's okay. You can just create space, and with compassion and kindness, just allow it to be there, and you don't need to put a little label on it or quantify it or anything. You can just, and that's okay. I mean, if you can do that, that would be a quantum leap for you.
Absolutely. there seems to be a theme, one of a few themes that have been coming my way recently. This one is around when you said the word ambiguity, meaning and meaninglessness.
Yeah.
And I love it. I love that exploration.
Love it. Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want to actually have a share and segue into I had a extraordinary it seems unbelievable in a way that I didn't see this before. I had an insight since we last spoke, and it happened. I've been Todd, I've been using a couple of your meditations, guided meditations regularly. They're very
so good.
somatic based ones.
Yeah, they're so good.
I can't remember which one it was. It was either tune into life's energy within you, tune into life's energy within you, or the other one is trust that you are safe to fall into this moment.
Yeah.
I think it was that one actually, but I've been using them both. And so for the first half of that meditation, I was very much very present and very in tune with your guidance. And then almost like out of nowhere, my mind just went into something arose, memories, the past, family stuff, family dynamics, things going on. Now, just to backtrack slightly and give a little bit of context, I attended some various workshops, shadow work, more like personal development style workshops a few years back. And so I was well aware I was carrying this belief that I'm small and insignificant. And that kind of came up 8, 9 years ago. So whenever I was doing various processes at the time, and I was very aware I had this, and I was kind of like almost I almost thought, or not almost, I pretty much thought that, wow, that's like the root of my suffering is there. But then during this meditation, Todd, those I realized that wasn't, that was still, there was another layer to peel. And I suddenly just became so aware. I was carrying the wound of shame. And it's so bizarre to not have seen that before because I'd never really, people talk about shame a lot and kind of thought shame was more happened people who had maybe, I don't know, certain kinds of really heavy trauma, maybe sexual abuse, physical abuse, all kinds of whatever. But it just became so aware suddenly, and as I was sort of as this was percolating through, I was considering like what am I ashamed of? Like what is the shame? And it was like, wow, the shame for existing, just the shame of being me, and the shame of as a little boy, the meaning I was giving to the experiences happening around me, that I wasn't being seen, I wasn't being validated. I was, in some ways, I was being controlled. Like even like my mum used to practically do my homework for me sometimes to try and, she wanted me to get good grades and all. But it was like, so then I felt so fake handing in my homework because I was like, this isn't mine. And doesn't what I have to say have any worth? So all this stuff and it all just, but this, it was just like it's so obvious now, but it was just such a radical insight to see this shame. And then I was thinking, like, oh, what fetter? I'm not sure actually which fetter, particularly the wound of shame, runs that you work with.
Second fetter. Yeah, second fetter.
Second fetter.
Second fetter.
Yep.
It's like
Yep.
a doubt-based fetter, doubt.
Yeah, and we work with it with shame. It really, the second fetter is sort of all of the shadow work stuff that we kind of encapsulate all within the second fetter work. So any of the shame and guilt and all of that stuff is handled sort of together in the second fetter.
It's because it's about the starting point and the underlying beliefs that we have, because doubt happens when you have an idea about things being in a certain way, and you also have an idea about things being in an absolute opposite way, but they're equally valid. That is when doubt happens. If you are not sure if you should do it or if you shouldn't do it, and both feels equally valid, that is when doubt is happening. And that can only happen because there's a starting point that is indicating something of value in both directions. And that is the starting point that we work with in the second. So we're going to the core of what doubt actually is in the second fetter.
I've had plenty of that, you know.
You're not alone.
No.
Yeah. No, I'm really glad that you were able to uncover that and recognize that, because it's such a big thing to work with. How has that changed since you recognize that? I'm curious when you brought up the phrasing of being, you know, small and insignificant. I would love to like launch into this whole. I find it's such a fascinating one. Where are you now with the small and insignificant? Yeah.
Okay. I'd say I still feel it, but it's not quite so sticky. There's a bit of a loosening around it. Yeah.
Good. I would invite you to challenge the relational nature of those words. So when you have the perception that something is small and insignificant, now I know we can go back, you know, to your childhood when we were all small and insignificant compared to the adults that were around us, right? Compared to the world that we found ourselves surrounded in, we seemed very much small and helpless and insignificant. And there is literally just so much you can do when you're, you know, a foot high. But the problem is when we learn certain things about ourselves then, and they don't get updated as we, you know, grow and age. We just learn that about us once and then take it on. So yes, when you were 2 years old, you were probably rather small and not terribly, you know, significant compared to the greater
survival of the family.
Exactly. But that has changed, right? So updating is super important to recognize that I'm still using this old description. You know, when you were, if when you were 2, somebody said you were particularly gifted and really smart, and people reminded you of that as you grew older, you would hold on to that too and say, oh, I'm very, you know, I've always been gifted. I've always been very smart. You know, since I was 2, people have been telling me that. You would hold on to that. But we do the same thing with the negatives as well. So having that negative ideology about ourselves just, you know, continues even when it's no longer of use. But what I find really fascinating about those is that they're always, for everybody, both true and untrue, depending on the scale at which you're perceiving things. So if you look at first thing is, you have when you're saying that, you know, I feel like I'm small and insignificant, there's a negative connotation to those words, as if you should be bigger or more significant. So you're looking at them from a negative standpoint, that it's bad to be small and insignificant. But actually, can you see the freedom that lies in being small and insignificant? Right? Significant carries a lot of weight. If you're significant, you have a lot of responsibility. A lot depends on you. There's a lot on your shoulders. If you're insignificant, then it's fine, right? Life becomes much easier all of a sudden. So you can actually play with it. Well, what if I was actually insignificant? does that actually have a positive connotation if it really doesn't matter? Can I just let go and relax then? What am I getting so hung up about if I was really insignificant? Being small, right? You're able to, move much more easily than, a person who's 8 feet tall or something. Like there's something to you can find the positives to play around with it. You can also acknowledge the fact that compared to a sequoia or even just like, average oak tree or to a tornado or to a skyscraper or to the sun or other planets, we are insanely small. We are absolutely tiny, insignificant beings. Like it literally defines all of humanity. You're not special in your smallness and insignificance. It literally is a defining characteristic of us compared to the planet that we're on and everything bigger than it. But at the same time, you're also massive and massively significant compared to an ant and a cell and a bacterium and all of these other things, which are, on scales of magnitude much, much smaller. So there's a relative nature of all of it. So whether you see yourself as being huge and massive and super consequential, I can take out an entire ant colony with 1 foot. I hold life and death in my giant hand. That is true on one level of being, and it's also completely false in so many other ways. So all of it comes down to the mind and the way that the mind is choosing to value or devalue being small or big, significant or insignificant. Either one of those is just a play that the mind is creating, and there's no inherent truth in either one of those.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like that koan, that Zen koan, that you can hold Mount Fuji on the needle of
the head of a pin.
A pin. That it just depends on how far away you are from Mount Fuji when you're holding a pin.
Right.
Then you can it can absolutely balance on the head of a pin. It's about perspective. Yeah. It's about perspective.
Yeah. So bear that in mind, that even when you have that like fundamental idea that's been that I'm small and insignificant, don't take that for granted that those words even mean what you think they mean. Question and try to turn it around and see if you can flip it from both sides and recognize the positives, the negatives, the truths, and the falsehoods in every aspect of it.
There's also a recognition as we're talking now that many people I know in my life do not see me as small and insignificant at all. So that's also the case.
Of course. Yeah. You are so big and significant compared to somebody and in some people's lives. And then other people, of course, we're all small and insignificant compared to other people and to other, organisms and buildings and structures and planetary, celestial objects and stuff.
Yeah, but also just for Pier's family, it's significant that he's coming home, tonight.
Yeah.
Where it's not as relevant and significant for Pierce's family that a neighbor in Bangladesh is coming home tonight.
Yeah.
So it's also in that you do have significance. We all have significance for someone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And also to answer your question, Todd, I'm developing more self-compassion. There's more.
Oh, love it.
Excellent.
Yeah, there's more like understanding and more acceptance around that. Yeah, and
that's huge.
Yeah, and still looking at, we were talking last time, Pernilla, about the joy of experiencing. So that's still something I'm playing with. Yeah.
It's lovely, isn't it?
It is. It is. Yeah. And it can be with really simple stuff.
Yeah. Just experiencing it has a joy in itself. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. And I don't have to give meaning to it.
No, exactly. Thank you so much.
Lovely, yeah.
It was lovely seeing you again.
Thank you. That's great.
Thank you for coming and sharing.
Yeah, and coming, and to anybody that has been on retreat, thank you for having surplus to actually also be able to come for this meeting. That's lovely. Lovely having you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Piers. Thank you.
Thanks, Piers. Hope to see you next time.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. We got Susan.
Hello.
Susan.
Hello.
How are you?
Well, in general, good, but I have something so triggered in me. But first, I want to say last time I had something that was really up for me. And I thought, why bring it up? Because you'll just say, be present, feel what you're feeling. I was like, oh my God, I'm having so much trouble doing that. And what you shared was so profound. And I've been meaning to email you for a month to say it was just so effective. And the pattern was that I can't slow down. I even like now it's after 11. I'm like, I got to change my clothes. I got to get to the office. You know, I'm having to practice right this minute. But you said, go back to your, you know, go back and just be present and accept and, you know, go through your life and just go back through and be like, I'm here. You're perfect. You don't have to do anything. And it's been so great because when I start creating a drama in my head, I go, oh, I have something to do that's productive. And it just, it's been amazingly effective. Yeah. So I've been, that was my month-long email I meant to write to say, thank you so much. So then I'm in the same place now. I'm like, what are they going to say that's going to help me? And I say, just say it. So this is what's happening is that, you know, my writing and my book manuscripts. And I have, so I'm running out of excuses not to try to sell my first manuscript. And I have tremendous support, right? I have this famous publisher who's supporting me. I have friends. I have you guys. I mean, I have so much support. And when I try to take the steps, and, you know, I'm very competent, right? When I sit down to take the steps to do my homework, what I need to do, it's on my plate right now. It is like trudging through mud. I mean, it's so painful and I'm so triggered. And I feel it really feels like life and death. I feel totally alone and I'm not. I mean, logically, I go, no, you have way more support than most writers have. It's like, but it's so painful. And I'm, by the end of the day, I have this headache. I'm just so stressed. So that's what it's taking for me to take these steps. And so I'm taking them slowly because it's so painful, but I would like it to not be so painful.
I don't think you want to hear what I have to say.
Say it. Say it.
It's not for now. It's not for now. It's not for now. If a book and also the types of book that you write needs to be happening in flow. And what I can see, for example, if we take Todd's his first book with the poetry, I can see now that if he had published the poetry, you know, 20 years ago and 15 years ago and 10 years ago, it wouldn't have been the same because he is different now. He is in a different place and he can phrase and contextualize exactly a poem so it becomes partly the experience but also with the relief. So he needed to be who he is now to be able to publish. I'm not saying you should wait 25 years. I'm just saying that there's something about you, in you, that is not where it's supposed to be for that to be in flow. And you know that it has now clicked because it doesn't have to be anything you need to understand consciously or intellectually. It can be a body thing that you're not even aware of. But something needs to click. And when that clicks, you will know it. You will become in flow. Things will fall into place, and you will read through the manuscript and go like, oh, and suddenly see it with completely different eyes because you are different. So you needed to write what you wrote, where you were when you wrote it, but it might need a future Susan to contextualize what you wrote into another twist on the kaleidoscope. Doesn't make sense. I mean, I'm also saying it because I'm sitting with this one here that has finished a book, another book, the second book, which is the Fetter book. Anybody who's going to work with Fetters, that is the book you're going to need. And he is sometimes a little bit forceful about wanting to, edit the last thing and wanting to get it on the go. And it's exactly the conversation we have every time.
See, I've put it aside.
Put it completely aside now because it really
it's
really not now.
So
it's really not now.
Waiting that final editing push until we're settled next year. And
can you talk about what it is you're waiting for?
Yeah. Well, it's for me, right? And I can only speak from that. There's a very clear internal feeling of when I'm in flow with the writing and the editing and getting it out, and when not. And it's like just this internal yes, this openness, this feeling. It's almost like a breeze flowing through the body. It's like just this, excitement. There's no mental, ease. There's no mental obstruction. There's no physical obstruction. It's just like, yes, now's the time. And then the thing is and that's how the only way I can work on stuff. So if when I'm even editing a book, I'm feeling, sloggy or something with it, I put it aside. And with the book that Pernilla was saying is almost finished, I can just feel like if I was to think about, doing the final editing and getting it out now, there's just this, heavy, no, it's not the time. And
but you're really good with that. You're the same with music.
Yeah. It's the same thing with all like that I found with the artistic pursuits that, I mean, music was one where it was particularly subjective as to whether a piece was done or not. And yet I very clearly knew. And it's a very, it is the same kind of feeling in the body where it just feels like everything has solidified and gelled, and internally it's just like, yeah, there's no more to be done. That one is off for now.
What I would say, one thing is when Pernilla said it's not time, like my body relaxed. So it was like, oh, okay, good. Yeah. Like no pressure. Yeah. But I'm at a different stage. I'm not writing it. This first one, I mean, this famous publisher and all these people have said it's ready. It's ready to be printed. It's ready to go. I think what's coming up for me is not about the writing. I doubt I'll touch that manuscript again because these people have all said it's time and it's ready. Yeah. It's the sales of it. That's where I'm struggling. The writing comes very beautifully for me. It's the sales of it, which I have to put together a book proposal, and I research these editors, and I've got that, but it's just every step of that is so painful. And I feel like it's a lot of fear around.
Well, I was just going to ask
rejection.
you
before we dive into the fear. Can we just make a little curl on because I want to dive into the fear as well. But just make a little curl. We all know of books and movies and compositions, music compositions that was made at the right time, that just fell into something where there was a receptor. I mean, what was it called? Tiger King.
Oh yeah.
That TV show that I never watched, the Tiger King during COVID, that could only work during COVID.
Yeah, most likely.
Whoever made Tiger King could only sell a concept like that during COVID. It needed to be then. Had it been before or now, it would completely have fallen through. Nobody would have watched that. But during COVID, and somehow sourdough.
Yeah.
During COVID. I mean, nobody has time for fucking sourdough now. So it's like there's something that just needs the perfect time. So I just want you to be humble again to the process that you're not that wise. You don't know why your body is waiting and why your energy is holding a bit on the brakes, but there is something that is holding on the brakes, and allow that to be true. You don't know what it is, but you will know when it's time. You will know that, okay, now it's time. And it can be any point of, we don't know who needs to read the book, and they need to be in a certain place in their life for them to understand the book and actually go with the book. We don't know what it is, but we just know it's not now. So be humble to the process and allow the process to be its own person, its own living being that you create space for and allow to develop the way that the process needs to develop. And now we can dive into the fear.
And I want to say, though, I feel like the process, I feel like it's so painful because there's something for me to heal. I don't think it's about the book. I think it's triggering all this really deep fears around rejection, around I can't even tell, but because it's way too
that's so funny. Some people still have time for Saturday.
That's fun. But anyway, yeah, I just feel like that's the process right now is I need to, I mean, there's no way it's that hard for me to do this stuff that I've been assigned to do. It's just not that hard. I'm very capable.
Exactly.
But so I feel like that's what's happening is that some really deep, so I guess it's just second fetter, it's just so primal. The fear is so primal. It's not about the book anymore. It's about something else. And that's what I'm trying to understand.
What would happen if you released the book and nobody bought it or it had bad reviews?
Yeah, I think it'd be crushing. Yeah, I think so. Let me see if I just sit with it. And then another part of me thinks, I did my job. My job was to write it. I wrote it. I got it out there. That part's my job. The rest isn't my job. What happens with it?
Which is the good, wise part of Susan, but that's not the part that is trying to be protected.
Yeah. It would be crushing. It would be crushing.
So
because it's so much a dream. It's so much my heart and my spirit. I mean, it's so much what I want to give, what I have to give. And it's so much me,
Which still you're doing, right? So having like bad reviews or having people not like it or whatever, or not read it, you're still giving the book, right? If your dream is really to give freely of this thing and share it, then that is fulfilled by publishing the book. It's the part that you can't control. The part whether other people actively like it, whether people give you praise back about it. So the first question is, how much of that other stuff do you need? How much do you have to feel that it has been accepted and that you have been praised for it and congratulated?
Yeah, we talked about being mediocre.
Yeah.
Last time. It's a bit like what we just talked about with Piers about being insignificant.
Yeah.
What if the book comes out and is being published and it's absolutely insignificant? Nobody reads it. It's like just a blip and that's it.
Yeah.
It's a bit like what we talked about last time about being mediocre, aiming for mediocre.
Yeah. And I think also it's a very, because it's a very personal book, it's very vulnerable too. So I think, oh my God, like that came up when you were saying, how would I feel? And I was saying when I was panicking yesterday, because I was working on it, I called a friend of mine and I said, yeah, I guess I just hope people really like it. It's like my child. And she said, oh, people don't have to like it. She said, that might be the greatest gift is they don't like it. And it triggers something else in them. She was like, that's just not it. It does feel like putting this child out in the world. And it's like, of course I want to protect it. I want to treasure it. And it's just not the reality is it could look extremely different.
There's also that part about that it's a very private thing. It's a very private thing taking no matter if you're an artist or a sculptor, musician or writer, whatever you are, baking sourdough bread, whatever you are, you're taking something really, really private and turning it, inside out for everybody to see. And we live our lives in a way where there's always a part that we never share with everyone, that we never ever tell anyone. We never share it because that is just too private to share. And when you then do that in a book or in a piece of music or by sharing bread, that suddenly that very private thing suddenly becomes exposed in a way that we might not be completely in line with yet. So I think maybe feel into that, allow that part of privacy, and inquire into that, feel into that privacy, and not jump to the but that's okay, I can just, it's fine, and they will see it, and maybe they like it, maybe don't go into, stay with that vulnerable sensitivity about that privacy. Yeah.
Also, like we were saying before, making sure that there's no ulterior motives in your wanting to share with other people and wanting to, give this gift to the world and all of that. Making sure that that in itself doesn't have strings attached. There's often there are often strings that we're not aware of, and I think they're all separate but related facets of the issue. That you have like Pranilla said, every artistic pursuit is inherently personal. Then you have a book which is even more personal than just, a general fiction book that, Stephen King writes or something. Like it's you have this added layer of personal. Then on top of that, you have the wanting to give this to other people, but also being a little bit dependent on having it received well. So you're vulnerable to its reception, which is a very dangerous place to be, because nobody can guarantee that. And then we don't know. You don't know what the experience is going to be once you put it out in the world, how it's going to change your relationship to it, your perception of it. Because right now you also have a really high esteem for it because you've read it, you like it. The other people who have read it have liked it, who you respect have liked it and said it's ready to go out. So right now you haven't really seen any negatives about it. So you have this like perfect baby, and every parent like thinks their child is like absolute perfection, and then they send him to daycare, and then they get notes that, well, actually, he was beating up on this other kid, and there are all these things that you have been hitherto unaware of, and it might be that the feedback that you get might then damage your view of the book, even in your interpretation of it. And so there are all these different ways that it reflects on the book and then subsequently on you, that you have to be able to meet and be okay with. What if it gets panned? What if people just ignore it? Are you okay with being ignored? Are you okay with being criticized vicariously through the book? Or perhaps
I think for me, all options
there's
feel scary. All options feel scary. Nobody reading it feels scary. People reading it feel scary. Very few people reading it feel scary. A lot of people reading it, like, it all feels scary to me.
So where is the one that's being endangered by that?
I mean, it's definitely just ego, right? It's just my small self, just my me.
But feel it. Feel that come up. You've read a terrible book review. It's just absolutely, and it's not even just going after the book. It's going after the author.
I've read a terrible book review of mine.
There you go. And how did that
shocking.
land?
Oh gosh, it was so many years ago. It was just so shocking. Yeah, because I'd heard so much praise, and then all of a sudden it was like this really nasty review. Yeah, attacking the book, attacking me. It was just so long ago. Yeah,
I have written 3 books, and the one that I like the least is the one that people talk most about when I meet them. It's the one that has had the most publicity and has been the most talked about. And I won't say that I don't like it. It's just not my best work. So it's like, in the beginning, I was like, well, I actually do better than that. I actually write better books than that book that everybody likes and talks about. But then I realized what I said previously to you, that it's like it has its own life. It's like it's its own person. And just like you, when you have had different cats or different dogs, all of them have their own little personality. It's the same with the book. It has its own little personality, and it's completely out of your influence how that little personality is perceived by other people. And none of it is reflecting anything about me.
Yeah.
None of the books are reflecting anything about me. I'm not in any of it anyway, because it's in the one reading it. It's not even about me, or how can I say that? It's the reader that is creating the meaning of the book. I'm not even in it.
Yeah. I had that experience with my book that was published years ago. When I first got it, I was like, oh my God. And I invited my two best friends. I said, let's say these prayers around the book. And they ran over, and I wanted to ask it to be a bestseller. And I sat down and I realized, oh my God, this is its own being. Like, it's no longer me. And I really had that super clear awareness that it had its own life. And
it's the same with this one.
Yeah.
It's the same with this one. And there is something in you and about the circumstances that is not ready for this little being out in the world yet.
Yeah.
So wait for that to fall into place, and then you will know when it's ready.
Because it's really not about the book being ready. It's really about you being ready.
Yeah. And it is just that, I just feel this terror around rejection, around shame, around all of it, around being ignored. Yeah, all of it.
Yeah. So externally, that's sort of the worst thing that can happen with the book, right?
Yeah.
People read it and they either ignore it or reject it. What is the worst thing internally that happens when that happens externally?
I think I just feel so crushed. I just go, oh, like, and it's just like getting the life punched out of me. I go, oh, and I just kind of collapse. It's just so painful.
So, but that is the when that happens, that is something that, first of all, you are making into something else, right? It might be the habitual gut response to the situation, where when you receive criticism from the outside, that is how it's taken in. But it doesn't mean that it has to stay that way. It doesn't mean that it has to just be that. You can then take that feeling of being crushed and remove the catalyst from it, because you're still associating it that, that book review crushed me. That person's belief about me crushed me. And I am now, physically, I have been crushed. That person has put their boot on me. But that's not really what's going on. You have to be agreeing with or accepting their judgment of the book, or their judgment of you as an author.
Yeah.
That has to be internalized for it to crush you. There are millions of writers out there, or have been millions of writers out there, who have had incredibly awful things said about them. And I mean, we live in a world of social media. There will be awful things said about you. Like, it's inevitable.
Yeah.
That's just the way that the world is now. People have a platform from which they can vent all of their frustrations and angers at the world, and so they do
project onto others. And if you're visible, it will be projected onto you.
It will happen. So that is part of putting anything out in 2026 or beyond. But you have to be able to discern that is something that somebody is saying that you do not actually have to take on yourself. You don't have to believe it just because somebody says it.
Yeah.
If somebody criticizes it, you have to actively agree and believe that they are right for it to hurt. If you have absolute full faith and conviction in the goodness of the book and the quality of the book and yourself as a writer, then there's absolutely no reason why you should be swayed or crushed by somebody saying something from outside. You know that they're delusional. You know that they're wrong. You know that they just haven't read the same book that you wrote. Their projection of it is completely different. It's not the same book that you wrote.
Or maybe it has nothing to do with you when they say that it's horrendous. Maybe they're trying to get off coffee.
Yeah, there are so many other things involved that you don't have to take it on as a personal attack. And if you do start to feel it, then look at, are you in some base level of your being agreeing with them?
Yeah. And also then that's fuel for my growth, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, the
Absolutely.
whole journey
It's what we talk with Barney about anxiety, that notice what is that actually pointing back to? Because there needs to be someone here that is agreeing with what you think they actually say about you. And can they say anything about you, or can they only express about their experience of where they are in their little bubble of reality, and they're trying to get off coffee? I mean, it has nothing, you're not even on their radar when they sit and spew vomit over you in a comment section or anything. You're not even, it can't be about you. It can only be about their experience of their perception of reality in this moment in their lives. So like Todd says, that you need to agree with them.
I think I've spent these since COVID. I just went so quiet, and I've been in such my own little bubble, which I love. So I just, as we're talking, I realized, wow, I've been really happily isolated for these years, and now
it's wonderful.
Being a monk is safe.
It's very safe being a monk.
It is.
But when you're leaving the monastery or the convent, then things get challenging. But it is, for you, also for other people who might be hearing this, when we're talking about this, we're kind of like in between two chairs. There's sort of two different ways of looking at it. There's the it helps to have that strong sense of self aspect where you really have to be confident in your valuation of you as a person, of your work as it is, that you have done the best that you can do, and you are absolutely okay with that. And you're so, confident in yourself that other people can't sway you from that. That is an incredibly important thing, a skill to have developed, or part of our development to have completed. And then also on the other side of that, there is the no self side, where even though that's true, that we need that inherent ability to have conviction in, that self conviction, we also have to see that we can turn around. And if you have a moment of really feeling crushed by somebody's, opinion about you, you can also turn it around and, where is that one that they are supposedly having an opinion about? Where is the Susan who is never changing, who is defined by that person's opinion of them? And so we can dissect it from that angle as well. So there's really no place for that affectability to have root by there's no place to be affected by other people like that, because we can either come at it from that strong sense of self confidence and strong self acceptance and knowledge, or also the clear seeing that there is no actual undefined unchanging permanent sense of self that is there. So it's all just basically something that the mind is buying into, creating, and then expanding an entire drama around out of nothing.
And I feel like I'm doing that right now. I mean, I feel like I'm creating all this drama just trying to do my homework. It's and I think of you guys, and I think of you often. I go, okay, what's really happening right now? And I was like, nothing. I'm sitting at the computer in my little cozy home. But then I'm like, so I feel like I'm in this place of creating. I think I'm so afraid of the unknown and coming out of my bubble and being vulnerable. Instead of seeing it as like, oh, like you just said, being a monk is safe. It's like, oh, well, this will be my opportunity to grow. But I'm not, I in my drama, I'm like, and it really feels like life and death. I mean, it really feels like that, which makes me know I'm being triggered so deeply, right? It's obviously not life and death,
Clearly not. And also it's all of the dangers right now are hypothetical. Your mind is creating all of these worst case scenarios to try to protect you from doing the thing which might be dangerous if you were to encounter them. If you get the worst case scenario review, this is how I would feel. That would be super uncomfortable. So I'm going to feel that right now. and then make sure I don't have to feel that way again in the future.
I think you just said it. It's like I'm trying so hard to keep myself safe. I mean, the small self is just so like, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, And then this other part of me is like, actually, this is what you dream of doing, do it, So I'm in this like constant right now. Whenever I try to sit down and work on it, it's just like, don't do it, and it's creating this real stress.
Of course. Yeah, you have these very, very competing forces.
There's also something comfortable with things staying status quo. Because you can right now you can dream about how it's going to be when it's like and all that. And then you publish the book and it's the most insignificant book ever received, so nothing is changed, or it completely changes your trajectory of your life. There's something very, very safe in where you are right now because it's predictable and you know what tomorrow is going to look like, and 5 years down the line, you are ensuring your survival by not publishing the book because you know what last year was, you will know what next year will be.
Yeah, I think that's the bottom line. I think that's it. I think we found it is set. It's the ego wanting to stay safe, wanting to stay small, wanting to stay the same, wanting to stay in my writing bubble, which I love, which I know Todd knows. You both know about that. So anyway, I think it's just, I guess, I think the path for me is to just be with both and be like, when that terror comes up, be like, yeah, I hear you. I hear you. You want us to be safe.
Exactly.
I hear you. And this isn't safe. This isn't safe in a certain way. And it's totally safe in another way.
But also keep remembering that you have no control of what experience a person is going to have when they read the book, because it's not about you. You're not even there. I mean, when I talk about Todd's poetry book, I can only tell you what my experience was when I read it. I cannot guarantee that anybody is going to experience what I experienced. I can only share what my experience was. And my experience has nothing to do with Todd. That is created in me based on my biochemistry and history and socialization and culture and all of that. It has nothing to do with Todd. And it's the same with your book. No matter how people... no matter what people get out of it, it has nothing to do with you.
That is interesting. When I published that other book, people had all these different reactions, and it's the exact same book. So it's really fascinating as the author to hear all this feedback, and people are like, oh my gosh, it was all about this, or it was all about this, or this was so painful for me, or this was so whatever it was. And I remember it was just so interesting because it was all the same words.
Completely.
I don't want to take any more time unless you guys.
So it's good speaking with you.
Sorry,
thank you so much.
Little last sentence. Because when you had said that, it is, I forget the word now, dangerous or unsafe.
Feels dangerous.
What you're doing. Again, it's only if you have that internal vulnerability towards being swayed by the external circumstances. in theory, there is nothing actually dangerous about the success or failure of the book, or just general mediocrity of it. The danger is only self-inflicted. It has to be something that you are fabricating based on the results of how the book is accepted or not accepted.
How she perceives
how the
book.
perceive is, your perception of that.
And I think I've been such a pleaser in my life. It's like, oh, I want everyone to be pleased. It's like, no. I mean, the reality is people will hate it. Some people, I mean, for sure.
It's
Some
inevitable.
people will. Yeah.
Your favorite anything has people out there that absolutely hate it.
There's
nothing that is there's nothing in the world that everybody
agrees on,
unanimously loves. It's just
and even agree to disagree.
No. So it's literally inevitable.
Yeah.
So
thank you so much.
I wanted to hear about you guys, but there's so much time. But
no. And honestly, there really isn't much to update with right now. We're kind of in this steady status of just going through stuff, starting to sell stuff, having just very mundane. Nothing particularly juicy or exciting.
Huge about waves in the experience, but on the outside, it's
just chugging along day by day. Still getting there. It's still a lot to go.
And the waves are like excitement or fear or I don't want to get rid of just everything.
It's also a lot of emotional, not emotional like that, but revisiting past and realizing that a lot of things that you thought were in a certain way weren't. They were different.
Like I have very different views of my family because some of them been gone for 10, 15, 20 years, and going back and discovering videotapes of them and watching them, like I have forgotten completely what their voices were like. I have manufactured entirely new voice models for them. The way that they interact is so much different than I remember. There are just so many ways that I can see that I have incredibly false memories of most of my life, and seeing the videotape proof of it is like those are not the people I remember. Like it's very, very strange, and it's kind of jarring because we build up these nostalgias about the life that we think we've lived and the people who we think we've been sharing it with, and it turns out
it's false memories.
Completely false memories,
and that goes for everybody. Everybody, whatever you think you have a memory about, it's a false memory.
So it's been really, really fascinating to
what
just
an awesome opportunity. Opportunity.
It really is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And he's finding lots of new string instruments, which I enjoy a lot.
So many instruments in the house. Kind of rediscovering like, oh, I actually forgot about that one, or it's been exciting.
It's like shopping. When I clear out anything, it's like shopping in my own home. I'm like, oh, I didn't own this.
It really is.
And then I just want to put
discoveries.
I put in the comments the donation site for anyone who's able to donate.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we're grateful for all donations. But whatever you guys can, we're grateful for.
And we're grateful.
I was so shocked. I thought you guys were like independently wealthy because I was with you for hours before and nobody ever mentioned money. And then I asked you, I was like, are you guys independently wealthy? And you're like, no, we're living off this. I thought, oh my gosh. That's why I put in the plug.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate you not focusing on it, but you're very bad at it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
So good seeing you. So good
you
seeing
too.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good luck with it. Keep me posted.
Yes, with pleasure.
Okay. And last for the day, we have Phil.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Hi Phil. Good seeing you.
How are you?
How's things?
Long time no see.
Good.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah. I don't think I've ever spoken to you directly, Pernilla, but Todd probably remembers me from when
I remember you too.
Sessions.
Yeah.
I've been in a few of the better groups. So so thanks for doing this. I really love you guys. I love all the content you've been putting out, but I've not really been following your videos. I got a bit overwhelmed with just how many there are, and like going through all of the going through all the different fetters, and yeah, I don't know if it's just my ADHD mind, or I'm just being lazy with it, but like, yeah, I think I'm curious about going back into them and watching them. I think there's probably value going through them progressively, but I've dipped in and watched a few bits.
But also, Phil, I mean, if you're ADHD, then lean into it. Do 5 minutes of that and 10 minutes of that, and then you forget it and do the dishes, and then you do 40 minutes of that one, and then you just shove around. It's fine. It's fine. There's not a right way to do it. You don't have to start with the first fetter material at the first lesson. Knock yourself out. Do it in whichever way feels right. And if you see something,
that's good.
If you see something that oh, this really piques my curiosity, like what we talked about today, the fifth fetter. Oh, then I'm diving into that. The seventh fetter. I want to do that. It's completely fine. It's completely fine.
That's kind of how I've been doing it. I just sort of pick up a video and it's like, that's really good, and it's like, and then I'm like, I don't know, I haven't really started following it, but yeah, I think I like the videos. They're really powerful. I think the ones that I've watched, and I like that, when there's a new thing that comes up, and your Q&As are really good with people. I like what you've got on YouTube.
But please don't be hard on yourself. That there are the material, the entire curriculum is made so there is a video for no matter what situation in life you're in. And that is a lot of material if you want to sit down and watch all of it. So it's better just to go with what is relevant for you in your life right now. It might be that you're out and about and you're catching yourself in, being rigid about things. I'm autistic, so sometimes I catch myself in being rigid about things, that things need to be done in a certain order, in a certain sequence, and then I'm happy. Then if that is an issue, I can dive into the third fetter. So you take it on and you use it for what is relevant for in your life right now. It doesn't have to be, done in the proper way, in the proper sequence. You can do it the way that feels right. And if you don't watch it in the right order, it doesn't matter. It's not meant to be watched in the right order. It's meant to be watched in an order so it clicks. That is the whole purpose of the curriculum. It's for it to click. For you to have that,
Yeah, that's great. I think I'll definitely go back and spend a bit more time with the videos. So yeah, I've also come off the retreat. I recognise the two lads as well from the Q&As. So it was a pretty nice retreat actually. It was quite a lot of sort of emotional stuff had been coming up. I've been working on sort of Fetters 4 really. Desire as like for quite a while now, for a few years, and I've been feeling kind of stuck with it and just going through phases of going in and out of like desire and just like loads of, and then it's kind of led to sort of some sort of emotions that I realized that had been repressed really. Like I didn't really realize they were there even, but with sort of some different sort of approaches, I was able to sort of get to a lot of anger really. That seems to be the main one, but it doesn't feel like anger. It kind of like comes up in lots of self-sabotage, procrastination, just basically, just a lot of kind of, it's sort of directed at myself, like in ways unconsciously, and I'm not realizing it. And it makes me sort of feel sort of, self non, I don't know as I'm supposed to, but like just self-sabotage has been a sort of theme that's sort of been going through my life recently, and not realizing that, sort of believing thoughts that I can't change it, sort of accepting this is sort of the way this is, not even seeing that. And this retreat was pretty good at sort of uncovering that. It kind of like brought a lot of the anger to the surface, and I was able to feel the energy of that, and it was it's like a life force that's been suppressed. Not when the anger's like pure like that, it really kind of just makes you feel like you can do anything, and that's just what has been missing from my life. So it was kind of like I was ending up like doing really sort of non-spiritual things, like setting goals and stuff during the retreat, and like saying, I'm going to fucking do that, and just using that anger to say, no, I'm going to actually do that. so these are the kind of things that seem probably really basic and simple for most people, but I just avoid them at all costs. Like, it's like I'm not going to set goals. Fuck that. I'm not doing that. It's like that kind of fuck you. I'm not doing it. Energy just completely sabotages my life in so many ways.
Absolutely.
And I feel helpless, like victim to it, really. And not without even realizing. That's just kind of like, that's just what's going on. Yeah. So just spending time coming back into the body and really spending a bit of time for that to sort of be processed. Because I've kind of dug a lot of this stuff up and then just sort of got business as usual. So to allow it to really process, it's been really helpful. And yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at. And I'm also sort of doing the Fetter 4 inquiries. I've been on and off doing that with people, and I'm working with someone else at the moment. So it's more of the sort of linear approach to the Fetter work. But again, I've been self-sabotaging with that. I've not been doing the inquiries regularly, just when we sort of meet. So this has kind of given me a bit of boost. So yeah, feeling quite good. But so yeah, I don't really know what else to say. I think there's loads of things are going through my mind, and I'm sure more things will come up. But like, I don't know if you've got anything to say about that, or what you can pick up from my energy or whatever that you can see that I'm not seeing.
Yeah, it's I just want to ask, which retreat was it? One of our retreats?
Angelo.
Okay, got it. Okay, got it. Yeah, I think that what we talked about previously about when you have that self-sabotage, a lot of times when we have self-sabotage, we tend to be on our case for self-sabotage and having that, well, fuck that, and I don't care, and fuck that, I don't care about that either, and I don't care about that. And then we start to have resentment towards the resentment that we have. That if you can pause and have an unconditional love and acceptance to all that resentment and all of that self-hatred and all of that self-sabotage, and going like, it's okay. It's okay. So just having a moment, just a brief moment where you take like little Phil and you just hug him tight and you just hold him and whisper to him, it's okay. It's okay. You can be as angry, you can be as fuck you can be as everything. It's okay. I still love you. I'm still here. And then off you go with more of it, But just have a little break once in a while where kind of sanity sets in. Because it is when we have that so much energy poured in a certain direction, there's a conviction about this being important. And that is reinforcing the self, is reinforcing the story, reinforcing, yeah, but that's also because, and so you're reinforcing a lot of things. If you can have like just a small break from that, a 5-second break with a breather going like, and it's okay. It's okay. It's okay to believe in a self. It's okay to believe that this self is worth less than anybody else. So, and this self needs to be punished for that. It's okay. It's okay. So just set in with unconditional acceptance to the situation as it is. And you will experience that when the more times you do that, the small breaks you have will slowly be longer and longer. And a peace will start to come. So the belief in the self-hatred and the self-sabotage will be less. And that is where, sanity starts to come in. It's like being
that's really helpful. And
yeah,
that's kind of like that was the sort of intuition through intuition. That was just naturally how it was happening during the retreat. Just having that time to sit and do that, giving myself that time. Otherwise, I'm just avoiding all of it. And so, I totally see what you're saying. It's
just like a 5-second break, just a breather, a deep inhalation, deep exhalation, where you just feel your body. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine, and then you can go back to self-hatred right after. It's a bit like being schizophrenic, and you absolutely believe in the voices in your head that tell you that you're King Edward III, and you're absolutely convinced about it. If you could have just a few moments once in a while going like, nah, maybe I'm just Phil and it's fine. that is basically what I'm
Okay.
calling towards, because
Fine.
we are no different that with people with schizophrenia. They are as convinced about their story as we are of ours.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. No. And yeah, I agree completely.
Yeah.
But sorry. But I was also gonna say, just a small thing to notice when you have like when you find yourself saying like I'm gonna do that, I'm not gonna do that, fuck that. Notice that that's a defensive posture that you're taking. And so anytime that kind of verbiage comes up, anytime you have that kind of feeling of nah, I'm not gonna, forget, I'm not gonna do that, I can't be bothered. Recognize that that's a defense from feeling something, right? There's a fear that if you do it, there's going to be some negative consequence there. There's something you either have already decided that you're not going to succeed if you do it, or so you're protecting yourself from failure or something else. So when it comes up with that kind of gruff, pushing it away kind of feeling, note that that is coming because it's like a protective mechanism that you're trying to keep from feeling something else, which is maybe it's a fear, maybe it's that you've already felt like a failure in the past when you've tried stuff. So now you're not going to try it at all. And it's protection from feeling that again. Just notice when those come up. And then, like Pernilla said, have that, it's okay. I still love me, even though I have not completed the task that I set out to complete or whatever it was. It's okay. That does not define my self-worth that I didn't complete the checklist. So having that self-compassion and recognizing that that is just a way of keeping from having to encounter that uh sorry, can't find the word, uh disappointment with oneself, or something like that feeling of not having done what you wanted to do or thought you should have done or could have done or any of that.
Yeah.
But I'm also, because we have a tendency to think that when and I'm not saying this is about you. I just want it out there.
Yeah.
That we have that tendency to, when you have that, no, I'm not fucking doing that. I'm not doing that. Forget about it. I'm not doing that. We have a tendency to see that as should be different. But it could also be that you have pushed yourself so far. You pushed yourself and pushed yourself and pushed yourself, done things that was not for now, and done things that was unfair, and demanded things of yourself that was unfair, that you have reached the point of enough. And that means that it's actually a healthy boundary that we're sitting and talking about. So I just want that in as well, that for some people sitting and listening to this will just be another, reinforcement of them crossing boundaries for themselves. I think it's really important for all of us to stay present in our bodies, in the present moment that is arising right now, with as little assumption or judgment about what is actually happening as possible. Because that is when we can feel strong boundaries, and when we can feel a flow moving in a certain direction where it's with ease that life is happening. So when you have that feeling of, nope, not doing it, don't care, I'm not doing it, see it from both sides if you can. Are you pushing yourself to cross a boundary? Are you exhausted and you want yourself to clean the entire house right now, but you are really, really exhausted? Is this really now that you should push yourself through to do this that is on the other side? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In both cases, no matter what it is, having a 5-second break where you put lots of love and compassion to what is happening right now, and having that, it's okay. So you don't have resistance to the resistance, but just sit with that resistance that is happening. It's okay. No matter if it's about a boundary or about pulling yourself together to do something.
Yeah, that's really interesting, because like I wouldn't normally see it from that side of the perspective, that side of the view. I wouldn't see that, but I know that it is all about boundaries, and boundaries are something that were very ill-defined. I'm just sort of really discovering how about them really. So it makes sense, yeah, to well, I mean, that's interesting. It doesn't feel natural to see it from that perspective, but I can see how, yeah, to say that other view would be helpful to look at it like, yeah, compassionate really, to sort of see that it is a protection, because it is a protection mechanism. It is protecting me, and I can see that. I mean, when I look at it, yeah, but in the moment, it's just like, it's just an energy. It's just saying that, like, it's just pushing away no, and it's very unconscious most of the time. I don't have to, be willing to just to see it and listen to it. What Todd was saying was quite interesting as well. Like, when I was setting like these goals, I kind of like intentionally set too well, there wasn't too many. I think they're pretty reasonable, but I was contemplating setting too many to sort of almost set myself up for failure. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I like that. I think an insight sort of came up during the retreat. It's like, I don't really like failing at stuff, and I hadn't even really seen that in myself. And my approach has just been to to just avoid instead of actually failing. I don't think I deal with it very well. It's something that I avoid so much that I don't even know what it feels like, really. Not that I'm an expert at anything, because my life's a complete mess, but really, because I'm not doing stuff. So that's like, because it's safe, and I know what's going to happen. Like, if I decide not to, do something, then I can't fail at it, right? So, and I think seeing that was like, okay, maybe it would be interesting to see what it feels like to fail at things and get comfortable with that. So I've kind of, as an experiment, I'm curious about trying that out for the first time, really.
I love that,
because I think there'll be lots of stuff.
We're just talking to Susan about.
Right. Yeah. Super interesting, actually. Yeah, I was resonating with that, actually. Yeah.
It's so important for us to be able to find that equanimity, even with experiences that we don't want to have. Nobody really goes out courting failure. Like, yeah, I really want to suck at this. I'm really gonna, put out this book and everybody's gonna hate it, or whatever. But it's inevitable. We're not perfect. We are going to make mistakes, and we aren't going to complete stuff, and people are going to not like what we do, and top level athletes still make incredibly bad mistakes when they're playing, and lose games, and I mean, it's just inevitable, right? It's part of being human. So we have to really like practice getting used to feeling whatever is there, and acknowledging that it's okay, that it's not an existential crisis to in our perception, fail at something. Whether or not you're even failing at it is another whole topic of its own, but just having that, but having the ability to be with whatever comes up in any situation is such an important attribute to develop.
But I also think it's really important to acknowledge that at any point right now, for all of us, we are absolutely failing at something. And we're absolutely miserable at something. And we're at the same time absolutely nailing something. It just depends on where you put the bar. And where for somebody playing the World Cup and shooting over the goal, it's just like such a feeling of failure. But for somebody else on the field, they're like, I'm at the World Cup.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm at the bloody World Cup.
Yeah.
It depends on where you put the bar. So there are things that you might set yourself out to do and have the feeling that I'm failing at this. But for somebody else, what you did that you saw as a failure, they would have as an absolute victory. Oh my God, I have had, it might be that you want to stand on the stage and, I don't know, recite pi. I don't know. I can't figure anything out. You really want to do that? Is it?
That's the aspiration of
It's
us
the
all.
aspiration. Yeah.
Very
So you have this that you really want to do that, and then you come up and at the 27th factor of pi, you completely go blank and you forget it. But there's somebody sitting and going like, he went up on the stage.
Yeah.
So for you, it would be a failure that you only could recite pi to the 27th factor. For somebody else, that is not even the issue. You went up on the stage. You nailed that. How did you do that?
Mhm.
And I think having always turn any situation in to see it from a different angle, it helps us in noticing how self-absorbed we are and how much we believe that reality is only the way that I perceive it. And it's just not.
Mhm.
Whatever you decide that you want to do, and you will explore how it feels to fail. When you fail, bask in it, enjoy it, feel the failure. And then when you're done feeling the failure, I would like for you to notice, so what was the win? What in this situation right now was actually absolutely nailing it? You know, you were standing on the stage and you nailed reciting it to the 26 factor. You nailed it. You know what I mean? So it's that any situation has many, many, many different sides depending on where you look from.
Yeah.
So you can never fail and you will always fail. It just depends on how you look at it.
Yeah, that's really spot on. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I'm really glad we talked about it. It's really made it a lot clearer.
Me too.
Yeah. Yeah, really good seeing you.
Yeah, it's really good having
you
you
guys. Yeah,
and I would love to hear what you fail at.
I'm looking forward to it actually.
Yeah.
I'm really curious. I'm like, okay, let's keep setting these tasks and see how this feels.
And see, and then notice what is judging and who is judging.
Mm-hmm.
I'm starting to see that I've got some unrealistic expectations about how I should execute things. Really, I think even sort of like depending on how I look at it, some of the goals I've set have been broken by this whole thing, but it's not really it's not really. It's just if I could be very rigid about the rules, but then really they're not. It's not a problem at the end of the day.
It's really, really fascinating to find out. You will find out so many things about yourself and how you perceive yourself and what your starting point is and your underlying beliefs, what they are. You will find out so many things about yourself. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, really good to see you.
Yeah, really good to see you.
Yeah,
here.
Likewise.
Thank you for that.
Cool. I'll stay in touch. I'll try and join the next one. But
please do. We would love that.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Have a good few weeks.
Thank you so much, Bill. Thank you. And I think that was it.
I think that's
Can
it.
you move the spotlight?
Yes.
Okay, the next time we meet is the 11th of August.
Yes.
And it might be the last time.
Yeah, we'll see. For the year. It depends on what happens with the move exactly. When right now, I think it's October that we're moving, but we don't know for sure.
We don't know yet.
So we had a meeting scheduled for September 1st, but it depends on
so many things.
Yeah.
So right now, last time is the 11th of August, and we would love to see you guys again. And it has been absolutely wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And also meeting new guys. It's so wonderful.
Yeah.
So wonderful. And seeing old guys coming back.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Have a few weeks.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Leela, can you hang on? Can you stay a moment?
Oh, yeah.
Stop recording.
Right.